500 years ago, according to the celestial calendar, there was an invasion of alien beasts, after which chaos began to reign in the world. These creatures burned villages to charcoal, and the blood of people flowed in rivers. Chapter 10 of the Gods. The god of devouring could not calmly look at the destruction of the world, and he brought the gods to the lower kingdom and teamed up with the spiritual devourers to fight the alien animals. Over the past 3 years, monsters have been destroyed and wars have ended. The god of devouring was seriously injured in a battle with alien beasts and retired to a heavenly spring, but he was subject to a conspiracy. He was attacked by magic, and as is already known, when a soul is attacked, it disappears and the person dies. Fortunately, Long Dinglins retained the last piece of the god's soul. He wandered between heaven and earth, waiting for the opportunity to be reborn. In Bifu, some guy told Bisa that he felt sorry for her, because he did not expect his body to be so weak, and added that he hoped that his soul would forgive him. It was obvious to observers that Bi-yun had beaten Bisa to death. This acting really looks believable. Bisa was a loser who doesn't know how to cultivate, and Bi-yun is a genius and the pride of the whole family. Bi-yun moved somewhere, and the question arose in his mind where he was now, and whether he had been swallowed up by devilish energy. In addition, he began to worry about headaches and flashbacks. His grandfather turned to him and told him that his parents were missing, and he was very weak and unable to practice, so he shouldn't cause trouble for anyone in the family. He also added that his father did nothing for the family, and his son is a waste. Their Bai family is a famous family in the eastern continent, and he doesn't understand how they could have such a useless descendant. Some guys were watching this, and one asked if this grandfather was a master of Baisei. Another said that the guy is a young master, but he can't cultivate. He also doesn't have parents and is like a servant in the Bai family. Others beat him, saying that such a pathetic person could not be in the Bai family and that he was only alive because his surname was Bai. Someone else told him that he was a waste of medicinal pills, and if he had these pills, his cultivation would have reached level 10, and that his death was the greatest contribution to the Bai family. The protagonist's spirit understood that the spiritual power of this body exactly matched his, and his soul could find his body. It seems that the memory he inherited is the memory of this body. Then he opened his eyes and, frightened, wondered if he was now in a coffin. Bi-yun sat over the coffin and told his brother that he died horribly, and that his blow was truly unintentional. He said that he would like him to survive, and even if he hits him, he is ready to bear it. He also asked Bisa to walk calmly along the Huangquan road, and not to follow the same path that he had already taken. After Bisa's soul returned to his body, as many assumed, he stood up and surprised everyone. One of those present asked if it was Master Bisa's grudge that he had harbored, and now he had turned into a ghost. Another said that this is not true because he has a shadow, which means that he is definitely not a ghost. Bi-yun ordered everyone to stay behind because Bisa must be killed by his hands now. The main character announced to everyone that from today no one will control his destiny. In addition, he expressed a desire for Bi-yun to pay 10 times the price for what he had done. The main character understood that although this body does not have spiritual power, his kung fu skills are still with him. Old Man Tao asked the main character where he learned martial arts, and why he uses them so cruelly against Bi-yun. The main character asked Uncle Tao how he could secretly study martial arts. He also said that it was obvious that his son was too weak. The uncle told the main character that since he had no respect, he would have to teach him etiquette, and he attacked him with a wolf shadow. After the attack, the main character realized that he had lost all his spiritual power, and the imprisoned spiritual beast had long disappeared. The uncle said that he had to die because they didn't want to waste the coffin. Bi-yun said that it would be too low to kill him like this. After all, he had already received an attack from the spirit beast and obviously would not live long after that, so it would be better if he lay here in the sun and die. Uncle agreed with him. The uncle told everyone present that all the crimes committed by the main character were punished by him, and if anyone dares to help him, he will also be punished. The main character further thought that he had finally been resurrected and his soul had moved into his body. But this natural, unnecessary body could not absorb aura, and none of the techniques that he knew were suitable. Only consuming heaven and earth is suitable for naturally unnecessary body. But practicing this method is very dangerous. But now that he has been resurrected, he must take revenge on that killer. Understanding that magic is magic to begin with, he decided that it would be enough to cleanse the body and mind, and even if he fell, then he should endlessly try to get up and absorb heaven and earth. At some point, the uncle asked if there had been such a powerful spiritual force recently that he just felt. Another told him that the illusion must have been caused by overwork, because it was unlikely that there could be a better spiritual master within 100 miles than himself. In addition, he suggested talking about business. He also said that in 10 days there will be a banquet in honor of his 60th birthday. The owner of Isyanju and his daughter will come to the banquet. Although Master Yishyangju does not have first-class strength, his skills in making and repairing spiritual weapons are considered the best. The uncle said that he has the intention of taking this opportunity to get married, because it is a great opportunity to strengthen the Bai family. But he does not know who can carry out this important task. The interlocutor said that Yun has a great appearance, and his strength is also one of the best among young students, and asked why not let him try. Uncle Tang told Yun that during this time he had time to train and that he should not miss this opportunity. Meanwhile, after one of the training sessions, the guys were walking, and one of them said that today's practice was really tiring. The other felt sorry that Yun was beaten by that pathetic kid. Having met the main character, one asked if he had really been killed. Another said that this guy's life is really hard and he really didn't die. If they kill him and help Big Brother Bi Yun with his anger, then they will benefit from it. One of them began to implement the plan, but the main character repelled the attack and said that he would use it to gain the power of absorbing heaven and earth. Then the delivery man came to Bi Yun, and when he saw the girl he said that he had delivered pizza for Master Yun. Having learned that it belonged to Bi Yun, he decided that he could try it. After tasting it, he felt that the food was very tasty. Bi Yun, meanwhile, was very hungry and did not understand why his pizza was still not there. Meanwhile, other guys began to talk about the main character, and one of them asked when he became so strong. Another replied that they had practiced and trained a lot, so it didn't matter because they could handle it. They began to attack with the help of spiritual techniques and killing blows, but they were not very successful. The main character asked if they really dared to use the water spiritual technique against him, the master of spiritual devouring. He further used the absorption of the world and the absorption of the mysterious finger, after which he said that this technique had no equal. The girl said that the disciples of the Bai family were so weak that the strength of these guys was only level 1 Spirit Eater. The Spirit Eater is divided into 100 levels, and each of the 10 levels is divided into orders of magnitude. The main character's current strength is level 15 and belongs to the second order, but he wants to restore his previous strength, but does not know how long it will take. He further decided that it was useless to think too deeply, because right now he had a lot of problems. So for now he needed to concentrate on practicing to become stronger. The old man told the patriarch that the main character must be eliminated, because sooner or later he will do something else. Besides, he had already sent people to get rid of him. But approaching the guys who were overcome by the main character, he asked them what they were doing here and where the main character's body was. One of the guys replied that last night they wanted to take care of the main character's body for him, but he didn't die and beat them badly. The old man said that this was a lie, because they were level 1 Spirit Eaters and the wounded main character could not possibly be their opponent, because he, moreover, was alone against 4 of them. The guy said that he became much stronger. After this, the old man told Patriarch Tao that the main character was becoming more and more problematic, so he would send someone else to capture him for interrogation. Patriarch Bilu also asked Bitao to pay attention to this big tree, and asked why it was broken. And after that, he suggested that there was a storm last night, and most likely it was he who broke it. Patriarch Bitao said that ordinary wind and rain could not break the centuries-old tree, and it was obvious that it was broken by spiritual power. In his opinion, the main character was a waste, but if he is really strong, then he should be left. Bitao agreed and thought that if the beetle turned over it would die, because it had no chance to turn over. After all this, the guys, when they see the main character, already stay away from him so as not to get into trouble. The main character understood in the meantime that although this body can practice absorbing heaven and earth, it is still too weak, and looks like he needs to make some pills to restore his body. He also realized that although he knew how to make pills, he did not have the money to buy an alchemy furnace and medicinal materials. Seeing a trading shop, he went there in the hope of getting something, and asked the shopkeeper how much he thought the jade hairpin he brought him might cost. The shopkeeper examined it and said that its texture was not bad, and the workmanship was also good, so he was willing to buy it for 500 taels. The main character asked how his mother's heirloom made of fine jade could cost only 500 taels. The shopkeeper replied that he didn't have much time to argue, so if he didn't want to sell her, he could leave. The main character said that he agreed to 500 taels and said that he would buy them back within a month, so he could leave them to him. The shopkeeper asked not to worry because this pawn shop has always been honest. After the main character left, the shopkeeper remembered that he is the trash of the B family and is a pawn, and this business, in his opinion, will develop because of people like him. He decided to take everything he had from him. Next, a girl came to the shopkeeper and asked him if he had any news. The shopkeeper replied that he had some materials and decorations, meters of silk and satin, and she just had to say what she wanted. Approaching one of the things, the girl said that the quality of this blue jade is not good enough, and the quality of the spiritual stone in this place that she pointed to is too low, and she then asked whether it was a pawn shop or a trash bin. The shopkeeper wondered where this little girl with evil eyes came from in this place. The shopkeeper showed her the jade hairpin of the main character. When she saw it, she said that it was not bad, with a special class of jade, and the craftsmanship was from famous designers. But unfortunately, it seemed to be put by someone else. The shopkeeper said that there was nothing wrong with that, because if the final price of 5,000 taels suited her, then she could buy it, and if she thought it was expensive, then they could discuss the price. She said that 5,000 taels was indeed a low price, because she thought that it was worth at least 30,000 taels. He said that if she liked it, she could buy it, and asked if she would pay in cash. The girl replied that large banks in the city could give him money if she indicated her name. Isyanju Imiana. At some point, the main character realized that he was being followed by one person since he left the pawn shop, and most of them were sent by Bitao to keep an eye on him. Luckily, you can use them too. While passing by one of the establishments, some of his employees suggested that he look at their restaurant, which has excellent pizza with unique flavors that he can try. The main character realized that it was done attractively, and that they were probably making a lot of money. Already in the restaurant, he understood that it would be easy to deceive his pursuers, and that there was a plan for subsequent actions. It was better not to interfere for now. Having tried pizza, he did not expect that food in this world was so delicious. After the restaurant, he put on a raincoat and a mask, after which he suggested that no one should recognize him that way. Approaching the shop, he heard one girl offer the shopkeeper to take 10 silver coins. Another asked if she would buy a first-class chi pill. It seemed to him that these people were alchemists buying materials or medicines, and their number was quite large. After that, he approached the shopkeeper and then said that he wanted to buy an alchemical furnace. The shopkeeper said that this store sells 3 types of alchemy furnaces, and he asked the main character if he had chosen which one he wanted. The main character handed over 500 taels and asked what equipment could be bought for that amount. One asked him if she heard it correctly. Another said that this was not a place for poor people like him. The third said that he would not become an alchemist if he did not have money. The shopkeeper said that level 1 alchemy furnaces cost at least 3,000 taels, and then asked if he still wanted to become an alchemist, not being able to afford a good alchemy furnace and materials. The protagonist asked how a high-quality pill could be refined using advanced alchemy furnaces and materials, and then said that a truly excellent alchemist must be able to turn dirt into magic. The shopkeeper said that he had been practicing alchemy for decades, and that this place was called Zijin Pavilion, precisely because he was capable of refining the Zijin rank 3 pill, and someone like him was not worthy of discussing pills with him. The main character asked if this was the only thing he could boast about. After that, he offered to place a bet, and if he made a purple golden pill, then he would give him an alchemy furnace, and if it didn't work out, then he would give him 500 taels. The shopkeeper said that it was a joke because the price of the purple gold pill was more than 500 taels, and he asked the main character what he used to refine the pill. The protagonist replied that he could make several purple and gold pills by spending only 50 taels on medicinal materials. The shopkeeper agreed and said that if he really made the purple golden pill for just 50 taels, he would give him the entire shop. The main character asked to bring him one, 2 sage, 2 vines, 2 linking, and a few more materials, saying that this was enough. The shopkeeper brought everything he requested and wanted to see how he could make a purple and gold pill using these cheap materials. Next, the main character asked to prepare his room and said that no one should disturb him while working for an hour. The shopkeeper said that there are only 3 formulas for refining the purple gold pill, but they have nothing to do with these cheap medicinal herbs, so he is sure that he will lose. The main character said that since he doesn't believe in him that much, then all he can do is wait and see the result. The main character understood that although he had lost all his strength, his memory remained. The purple golden pill has a total of 16 recipes, and he didn't expect that this world only knew 3, but that's even good. Most of the methods for refining the purple gold pill were not passed down from generation to generation, so he had to take advantage of this opportunity. He left the room an hour later and was asked by the shopkeeper if he needed to give him a few more hours, and if his purple golden pill had been refined. The main character pulled out a box from his pocket and said that it contained fresh purple and gold pills. The shopkeeper asked if this was not a lie. After opening the box, the shopkeeper said that it was indeed a purple and gold pill and its quality was excellent. The temperature inside the pill is the same, and according to him, the main character really just improved it. One of the people said he couldn't believe it. Another asked if the owner really wanted to give this child the Zijin Dan Pavilion. The third replied that Bijing made a bet in front of everyone. Bijing began to apologize to the main character about the bet. The main character stopped him and said that it was just a joke, because he only needed an alchemical furnace. The shopkeeper picked up one of the furnaces and said that this was the best grade 3 alchemy furnace in their store, called Freedom Like a Heart, the size of which could be changed at will. Then he asked to accept her. In addition, he asked to accept a collection of several aromatic herbs from him, and said that in the future, when he wants to buy something from this store, he will be given a 50% discount. One of the other workers told the shopkeeper that by giving away these precious herbs and a grade 3 alchemy furnace, they had lost at least 200,000 taels. The shopkeeper said that this person had mastered alchemy at a young age and was definitely not an ordinary person. The service they did today, he said, would definitely benefit them in the future. Further in Bifu, the subordinate told Master Bitao that according to the spy's observations, after the main character sold the hairpin, he spent the money to eat, drink, and have fun. The master asked for continued surveillance. Yoon said that changing a country is much easier than understanding the character of the main character. The master asked if he had the courage to talk about him, because he had been training for many years and last time he unexpectedly lost to that cripple. The son said it was just an accident and he didn't know what was happening to him. Moreover, he was in a lot of pain. Father said that he secretly practiced some foreign kung fu, but he could not compare with them in terms of spiritual power. Next, the father gave his son a blue and gold pill, which he bought from Zijin Pavilion at a high price for him. The son asked why it wasn't a purple gold pill, since this pill he was giving him had a much worse effect. His father asked him to stop talking nonsense, because he doesn't know how difficult it is to get the purple gold pill, and if it ruins his status, it will break his legs. The son said that he would remember this. While already at home, the main character realized that the healing power of the purple golden pill was really good, and it relieved him of old diseases in this body. He also understood that if he took the purple gold pills in large quantities in a short period of time, the potency of the medicine would be greatly reduced, and that he needed to refine the other pills and take them together. The main character also realized that the seller really gave him a lot of good things, and he most likely refined a lot of useful pills. He also remembered that earthly cultivation requires physical strength, and he had a question about whether there was delicious pizza in Bifu's kitchen, which he tried earlier in the day. Entering the kitchen, the main character saw a girl chasing a chicken, whom he never expected to see there at such a time. The main character told her that although she is a beautiful maid, she couldn't even deal with the chicken. He further asked who she really was. She thought that if he found out that she was Miss Isyanju, who went to prepare food in the middle of the night and therefore caught this chicken, then she would be laughed at. She said that she's actually a new maid here, so she doesn't know much. He said that there was no need to explain further because she was lucky to have met him. After he prepared the food, she asked if he was a chef. He answered in the negative and said that for him it was nothing. He also realized that the delicious food he ate today was memorable to him, and he subconsciously reproduced it with divine power. As she began to eat, she said that she did not think that ordinary ingredients in such a combination could be so tasty. She tried all the dishes from different countries, but this was the first time she felt happiness from food. He asked how she could taste all the food in the world while being a maid. She replied that she used to work as a waitress at Wangqianglu, so she tried a lot of delicacies. After he had eaten with her, he fell asleep, and she thought it all was funny. Then she thought out loud that she needed to return to the guest room as soon as possible, because if her father recognized her, it would be bad. At that moment, the father came in and asked her what he should know about. He also asked if she really went into the kitchen of the owners of the house in order to steal food. She replied that it was for him, and because he practices Tai Shu Minjing, and the practice of this technique requires enormous physical endurance. He said that she always has some reasons, and he is already used to it. She went on to say that she thinks B's family is so wonderful, and she wonders why he wants to please them. He replied that he had a close relationship with one of the disciples of the B family, and was informed that the head was interested in marrying her. She said that if they want to marry her off, it depends on what they can offer them. He said that if she doesn't want it herself, then there's no need. He just wants her to be happy. The main character woke up in the morning and realized that he had slept all night in the kitchen, and the question arose in his mind whether it was really the girl who covered him with a blanket. Next, he thought that since she should be somewhere nearby, he would still have a chance to see her again and repay her debt. At that moment, some guys came in and one of them asked what he was doing here on the birthday of their patriarch. Another said that the gym was still short of manpower, so he should go and help. The main character turned around and asked them if they really wanted to force him to do something. After they recognized him, they got scared and one apologized and asked him to make himself at home. The other answered his question that they did not dare force him or say anything. Then they left the kitchen and one asked what was the matter, because he was a soft-bodied shrimp, but now he seems to have completely changed. Another suggested avoiding him in the future. Further, the patriarch thanked everyone who came to them today, and especially expressed gratitude to Mr. Isyangju and his daughter. Father Isyangju told the patriarch that he was too polite, and he asked Imianu to go and congratulate Senior B. She approached the patriarch and said that she wished him a blessing similar to the East China Sea and longevity like Nanshan. The patriarch said that she was not only beautiful but also eloquent, after which he asked if she had a husband. Her father answered for her that she was still too young and had not yet thought about marriage. The patriarch said that in his Bai family there are many young talents who are not yet married, and he asked how about taking advantage of today's birthday holiday to arrange a marriage. At that moment she realized that he was a cunning fox, and the question arose in her whether she would lose face if she refused him now. Her father said that she was very beautiful, and in recent years many famous and rich businessmen and famous foreign families came with marriage proposals, but she rejected them all. Among them, according to him, there is even Huang Duoduo, the prince of the Shengqian Empire, Seron, the son of the patriarch of the Western Iron Clan, and many others. The patriarch said that he understood this and asked Mr. Isyangju if he thought that the Bai family was not so famous that they would not even get a chance. Imiana told the patriarch that he had misunderstood, and that the fact was that she had once promised that if anyone could handle the spiritual artifact in her hand, then he would become her husband. Seeing the white spirit artifact, the patriarch said that it was a low-class artifact that even a spirit eater below level 10 could activate, and asked if it was a joke. She replied that she never breaks her promises. One of the guys asked if such a thing exists in this world. Another said that even she can activate a trivial white artifact. The third asked if he could really become her husband. An argument began among them, and Bi-yun intervened and stopped it all. Next, Bi-yun approached Emian and said that he wanted to try. She said she didn't mind. He also asked her if she was really in love with him, because he noticed how she was so embarrassed that she did not dare to speak about her feelings. The patriarch asked his son what he was digging around there. The son replied that he used the spiritual power of his entire body, but nothing happened. Imiana said that someone else could try after him if they wanted. After trying everything, she said that she doesn't look down on the brothers, but unfortunately, there is no one who is destined to do so. At that moment, the main character asked her if she would allow him to try this. She asked if he had lied to her and that he was actually from the B family. He asked if she had said that she was a new maid. Then he said that they were even now. The patriarch asked the main character why he came, after which he asked him to kick him out of here. The main character asked the patriarch why he, having the surname B, could not also try along with everyone else. After this, the patriarch allowed him to try because anyway, everyone except him had already tried to do it. The master said that if he could do this, he would write his name backwards. Bi-yun told the main character that although he has the surname B, he is trash, and if he fails to do this, he will lose the authority of the Bai family. The main character asked why don't they make a bet, and if he doesn't succeed, he will immediately leave the B family. And if he succeeds, he will bow to him and apologize. Bi-yun agreed and said that if he wins, he promises that he will do it. The main character understood that these people had never seen such artifacts, and they did not even know about artifacts like the Royal Seven Colors. This spiritual artifact continuously improves as the owner's power increases, but its awakening requires special formulas, and as the god of devouring, he knows how to activate it. Imiana assumed that no one could awaken this spirit, so she decided that she would allow the main character to disgrace himself in front of the B family. After activation, the main character said that it seemed that this magical artifact had already recognized him. He further asked Imiana if it was time for her to keep the promise she made in front of everyone. One of those present said that he actually managed to do it. Another said that marrying her would be a big step forward for him. The third said that now you need to be more respectful with him. Emiana said that since she gave her word on her behalf, of course she would keep it. The main character said that she shouldn't be embarrassed, because the reason he did this was not because he was blinded by her beauty, like that loser, but because he wanted to prove that his family is not trash. He also said that he was still young and not ready to live with such a beauty, and it was quite possible that they would terminate the contract. After that, he asked her if she could give him this artifact as a token of gratitude. The old man said that if his nephew has any reasons, then they will not force him into marriage and he can take the artifact, and as for marriage, they can postpone it for now. One of the old men quietly asked the main character if he really wanted to give up such a wonderful opportunity to change his life. The main character said that he was good on his own and asked why he should rely on someone to change his life. After that, he spoke about his confident refusal. The patriarch said that in this case they would cancel the marriage and hoped that Mr. Isyangju would not hold a grudge against them. Mr. Isyangju said that he would not hold grudges, and that he was convinced that the Bai family was indeed full of talent. When Bi-yun tried to escape, Imiana asked him not to be in such a hurry and asked if he had forgotten his promise. Yun approached the main character and began to bow and ask for his forgiveness for being wrong. The main character asked him to say it louder, otherwise he couldn't hear him because of the crowd. After that, Yun shouted that he was apologizing. After that, he mentally asked him if he really thought that he would get away with this, because he would take revenge on him anyway. Then the main character told the patriarch that now that the work was finished, he would return to his place and rest before the big work ahead. The patriarch then announced to him that he would restore his place in the Bai family and would receive his annual money from the family, after which he would begin practice. The master thought that this had attracted the patriarch's attention to the main character so much that now he needed to quickly find a way to get rid of him. The next day, Imiana approached the main character and said that she had been looking for him for a long time, and all this time he was lying on the ground in the fresh air. He asked her if he had learned the wrong information that she was leaving today. She asked if he wanted to accompany her. He replied that her father didn't really want to give her to him, so he'd better not get close to her. She said that she has no friends, and since he is her first friend, she wants to give him a hairpin so that he will remember her. The main character saw the hairpin and asked if it was the same hairpin that he had taken to the pawn shop. She said that this was unexpected for her, and it turns out that this thing is being returned to the owner, because she bought it at the pawn shop. He said that if so, then the hairpin could remain with her, because she had already given him a spiritual artifact. Having also heard a promise to pay for everything at the next meeting, she said that this was a good offer, but first he must become stronger in order to take this hairpin from her. He agreed with her. She also invited him to take the very pills that she handed him, because the Bai family was in danger, so he had to be careful. When he saw the bloody toad pill made from clam blood, he said that it was too expensive a gift. She said that this was her investment in him, and when he became stronger, he would have to return it to her twice as much. She also said that the green mountains stand still, the rivers will flow for centuries. Time will pass and they will meet again. He further realized that she was a very unpredictable woman, and it seemed like he should start accumulating power. After that, when he came home, he realized that although he could awaken the Queen of the Seven Flowers, but with his current level of cultivation, it was difficult for the artifact to recognize the master. Also, due to his cultivation level, it would be wasteful to use such a pill, so he would need to go to the alchemy shop to buy medicinal herbs to create new pills. In the pavilion, the shopkeeper laid out for Sir Siren 10 purple golden pills ordered by the Academy for this season, and said that he had already prepared everything for them. Seeing that the quality of the pills this time was much better than last time, he asked the shopkeeper if his alchemy level had improved, and if he had already achieved the title of rank 4 alchemist. The shopkeeper said that he really had eagle eyes, but these pills were not made by him but by someone else, and he was ashamed that this person was much younger than him, but the level of his alchemy was incomprehensible. Siren said that since the quality of this batch is very good, that is why he decided to pay an additional 3,000 taels. The shopkeeper said that as expected from the Academy, the extra payment was indeed generous, but he was very rude to him. At the same moment, the main character asked to give him 3 burdocks, 2 bloody bodies, and a spruce turtle shell. The shopkeeper brought him everything he ordered, and the main character thanked the shopkeeper for all this. Siren told the shopkeeper that this man interested him, because he came not for pills but for medicinal herbs, and he was also wearing a mask. The shopkeeper said that he was the alchemist who made this batch of pills. Siren thought that he needed to get to know him because in their city such masters are considered rare. The main character understood that he had firmly established his identity in the pill shop, and that now he did not need to look for herbs. He further noticed that someone was following him, but he also understood that Bitao's people were not so experienced as to pursue him. Meanwhile, two guys approached the crowd, and one of them wondered why it was so lively there. One of those present said about the girl that she was a poor thing. Another said that she was beautiful, but unfortunately he had no money. The third said that he would like to buy it, but if he did, his wife would tear him to shreds. Another one of the guys decided to ask the girl how much she was selling for. She replied that as long as the master is willing to pay 100 taels for the funeral of her father, Xiao Luo is ready to serve the master and will never go against him. One of the guys came up to her, took her hand and said that he would buy a thin wooden coffin for a mass grave, and that she did not need to be his girlfriend, but just be his concubine. The main character asked Biyun if he would do the same if he were to bury Bitao. He also said that it was better for him not to save money and go buy himself a concubine, leaving this girl alone. Biyun asked him better not to interfere with him. The main character said that he was not here to create problems, but to buy the maid for himself. Next, he approached the girl, and giving her money, he asked her to take it and allow his father to calmly go to heaven. She took the money and thanked him. Biyun said that he came first and asked why he was coming here. The main character said that everyone was watching as he gave her more money than him, and naturally she should be his. And for those 12 taels that he gave her, he can bury his father. Biyun decided not to let him destroy him and decided to fight the main character. And he, in turn, also using his power, did not wait for him to kill him. After Biyun was thrown away from the main character did not understand why this happened, because he was not defending himself now. Then he remembered the spiritual artifact, and the question arose in his mind whether this could be his power. Biyun asked Bitang and Bixiao to teach the main character a lesson, so that he would not do this again. One of them told the protagonist that since he attacked a brother from the same family, he should not blame them for being rude to him. Siren approached them and said that it was obvious that Biyun attacked first, and the main character simply defended himself. One of the brothers asked how some savage dared to interfere in the affairs of the Bai family. Siren replied that he was a first-degree student at the Spirit Eater Academy. They realized that the student at the Spirit Eater Academy was not someone they could ignore, so they were forced to stop attacking the main character. The girl thanked the main character for his help. The main character asked her to beware of those people and leave Fengzhou City as soon as possible after the funeral. Xiao Luo asked why he wanted to drive her away after buying it. Siren also asked why he was refusing a beautiful and affectionate maid. The main character replied that he never liked being taken care of and thanked him for his help. Saron said that he liked people like him who were ready to stand up for others, and he asked after that if they could become friends. The main character said that he was also interested in him and invited him to eat. Saron asked the girl if she would go with them. The girl reminded that she still had to bury her father. Biyun, after getting home, asked his father to help him teach the main character a lesson. Father said that the protagonist's strength is growing at a tremendous speed, and the patriarch attaches great importance to him, so it will be difficult to attack him. Bao Xian said that they could come up with a plan where the main character would be expelled from the Bai family. Yun asked his cousin why he was here and not at the academy. The cousin replied that he happened to come to Fengzhou on business and now he would treat them. Yun asked what plan he came up with. Cousin said the plan was perfect. However, he needs to do something. Meanwhile, Saron brought the main character to a restaurant and invited him to raid the highest quality pizza. At the table, he also told him that this meeting was predetermined by fate, and he offered to drink for it, but instead of alcohol, there would be tea. The main character said that he noticed that he was following him all the way from the Xingjin Pavilion and asked why this was not a chance meeting. Saron asked the main character why he didn't immediately say about it, since he knows about everything. The main character replied that in that case he would not have paid for the food. Saron then told the protagonist that he was indeed a master and asked if he would like to join the Academy of Spirit Eaters, since he is such a skilled alchemist. The main character replied that he knew very little about the Academy of Spirit Eaters and asked him to tell him more about it. Saron said that this is the best academy on the mainland, specializing in training master soul eaters, and that throughout its existence, it has trained countless geniuses. The academy is divided into Qixiao Academy, Lanqiang Academy, and Jinyu Academy to train students according to their abilities, and the academic aura is much denser than here. Meanwhile, someone from the B family came to them and told the main character that he was in big trouble and that he should go with him to receive punishment. The main character asked if Biyun really ran to complain after the beating. Bao Xian asked how dare he mention the name of his brother whom he killed. The main character asked how he could die if he just knocked him down. Saren said that he was also present at that time, and although Bi-yun was injured and bleeding, he was clearly not dying. Bao-shun said that if they didn't believe him, then they could go back and see his brother's body lying in the hall. The master told the patriarch that he must be fair to him and punish the main character according to family rules. The main character said that according to family rules, students of the Bai family should not bully the weak, but his son molested a woman in public, and then asked what punishment he deserves for this. The master replied that Bi-yun was just a child, and he was clearly jealous only to take advantage of the opportunity to hurt the killer. The main character recalled that this child was already 20 years old, and said that everyone present could testify that Bi-yun attacked him first. Saren said that Bi-yun actually attacked first. He vilely tried to attack the main character, after which he was injured, and although the injury was severe, it was by no means fatal. Bitao asked Saran's nephew what he was doing here. Saran replied that he was studying at the academy and met the main character here, but he was sure that he was innocent. The master said that in any case, Bi-yun's death is connected with the main character and asked if it was possible that people from the academy would be more partial to the head of the family than to the descendant. The head replied that if it is confirmed that the death is connected with the main character, then he is allowed to be killed at that very second, or prohibited from using the skills and, in accordance with family rules, expel him from the house. The main character said that he has medical skills and asked permission to check the body, and if he really died, then regardless of the reason he would accept the punishment. The master said that since his son was lying here, he could check it right now. Sitting down to the body, he said that there was no pulse, no breathing, and the body was cold and devoid of vitality. Next, the main character asked if anyone would mind if he fed Bi-yun a pill. They asked him what kind of medicine it was. He replied that this tablet helps cleanse the liver and intestines if they are not working well. Uncle forbade it. The main character asked why he was afraid that his son would take poison if he was dead. The uncle asked how he could desecrate his son's body. The main character said that given that his uncle was afraid that he would poison his son's body, he began to suspect that his son was in suspended animation. The uncle asked if he really didn't care about the souls of the dead. The main character replied that the poison would not harm him, and asked his uncle if he was really afraid that the poison would actually kill him. The uncle asked the patriarch if he really wouldn't stop the main character, and if he really thought it was right to desecrate the body of the deceased. The patriarch replied that he would not show favor to anyone, but he would also never allow anyone to be offended, after which he allowed the protagonist to feed Yun the medicine. The master said that if he dared to harm his son's body, he would destroy it. Saren said he studied types of suspended animation in college, and asked if they would allow him to examine the body. The patriarch said that he had no objections. The master had no choice but to allow this too. After Saran began, the main character had questions about why the aura of this spell was similar to the devastated soul that killed him, and whether the person who killed him had anything to do with the Spirit Academy. After Bi-yun came to life, one of those present asked what was going on here. Another said he was having some kind of déjà vu. A third added that first the main character, now Yun, and then asked if resurrection has become popular. Saren further said that although this technique of suspended animation is magical, it is prohibited from research and use by the college due to its strong side effects. The master asked what we were talking about. Yun then crawled into his father's arms and said that he was an invincible spirit eater, that he had hemorrhoids, and that people wanted to drink grandma's hemp. Saren answered the master's question that he meant that loss of consciousness and dementia are incurable. The master asked his son what happened and whether he really didn't remember his father. Yun asked his father if they were really trying to frame the main character using suspended animation, and if they had already done this. The master replied that this was a lie. The protagonist told the patriarch that it seemed that the truth in this matter had become clear, and Uncle Bitao was abusing techniques to frame his family, and asked what the punishment for this was according to the family's rules. The patriarch replied that as for the punishment, seeing that Yun had become crazy, he and his father's cultivation would be destroyed, and they would also be expelled from the Bi family. Bitao asked for the sake of his many years of devotion to his family to spare him this time. The master asked the patriarch for forgiveness, but he said that he would not forgive him and that he should blame himself for his greed, after which he began to attack him. The master said that he would not give up today no matter what, and also began to attack the patriarch. Saran helped the patriarch deal with Bitao using iron control techniques. The main character, after seeing the master's corpse, realized that the students from the academy really have hidden trump cards, among which there is even a technique of iron control. The patriarch said that injustice is doomed to death and thanked Saran for his help because he was careless. Saren said that even if he had fired earlier, he would not have been able to harm him. The main character told the patriarch that he had one request, and he hoped that he would fulfill it. The patriarch asked him to talk about her. The main character said that he hopes to go to the Spirit Eater Academy in order to bring glory to his family in the future. He also thanked the patriarch for his help and said that he would definitely live up to his expectations. The patriarch said that if Bitao and his son had the same awareness, they would not have ended up like this. He also added that he would grant his request and asked him to go to the vault to pick up 3,000 taels of silver for travel expenses. Saren told the main character that he would like to go with him, but he has tasks. He also told him that with his strength, passing the college test would not be difficult. The main character told him that he was grateful for his words. After all this, the main character took a horse named Turnip and began traveling around the world. Then he swam, dived, and when he emerged from the water, he saw a girl and said that unfortunately he was blind and could not see this magnificent landscape. Seeing that she went to get dressed after that, he realized that it looked like she was fooled by the fact that he was blind, and it looked like he had good acting skills. After she was already dressed, she called him a pervert and said that he would pay for this. During her attacks, he began to dodge and realized that she had very strong spiritual power. After that, he got dressed and she asked him how he could avoid her whip if he was blind. He told her that he said this so that she would not be embarrassed and asked why they should fight. She said that he should pay for seeing her naked body. The main character said that it makes sense, but if he has what she wants, she can take it. She said that since his eyes were looking at her, she would gouge them out. He said that he didn't want to be rude to her because she was a girl, but she was forcing him to. She said that she really wanted to see what he was capable of in this case. He said that in that case, it was his turn to run away from here, after which he began to run away. She said that if he really wants to escape, then it will not be easy, because she will be catching up with him. Sometime later, she said that there was no need to hide, because she could feel the spiritual power of people, and although he had it very weak, she would find him sooner or later. He asked if he was just looking at her body, since besides, her figure was unremarkable. She, not understanding how he dared to insult her figure so much, began to attack him. After she was caught in his rope trap, she said that it was very mean to trap people in such ways. He said that he didn't see anything mean in this method, and in his opinion, she should cool down. Next, the fire spirit's younger sister freed herself, and said that she wanted to teach him a little lesson, but now he had really angered her. He asked her to wait because if she used a powerful fire technique here, the entire forest would burn. Seeing that she stopped and simply fell, the main character wondered if this was some kind of sneaky trick. He approached her and after examining her, realized that a slight awakening of power and the use of a powerful skill in a highly emotional state led to an attack. Then he brought her to some building and began treatment. It seemed strange to him that in her body there was a powerful spiritual force that did not belong to her. But he also noticed that a fire-type spiritual force was trying to consume him. He understood that if he gave up now, this girl would die, and therefore he needed to try to absorb the energy of the fire by force. He began to devour this energy like heaven and earth, and realized that this energy was too strong and could tear his spiritual sea apart. He further noticed that the spiritual artifact began to help him absorb all this energy without harming him. After that, he decided to release the excess energy from his body, and when he saw the rain falling outside, he understood that it was even better this way, because he would immediately put out the fire. After some time, the girl woke up and had questions about what was happening here, and whether that guy really did this when she lost consciousness. After that, she left the building and decided to grind the main character into powder. But distracted from her thoughts by searching for him, she saw that all the plants were burned and the question arose in her mind. What happened here? Meanwhile, the main character was walking among these burnt plants and realized that it seemed that yesterday's exercises were too intense. Seeing her, he greeted her, and she decided to attack him again and asked him to get dressed. He got dressed and asked her if this was really how she felt about her savior. She replied that she did not ask to be saved and asked if he had really taken advantage of her. He replied that his technique was not that strong, and he could only absorb its energy through physical contact. He also asked her why that strong fire energy in her body was consuming her. She replied that this energy was both a blessing from God and a curse. She further said that as soon as she was born, a fire energy of unknown origin arose in her body, and although it helped her practice faster, because of this, her body was shrouded in flames and no one could get close to her. She also said that she should also bathe regularly, otherwise this energy will consume her. He said that it was no longer surprising that her condition had deteriorated so sharply and asked if it was because of him that she had to interrupt her bathing. She asked if he still had the courage to say such a thing, because if he had not been watching, then all this would not have happened. He said he saved her life, so they're even. After that, he also pinched her and said that she was exaggerating too much because it was quite comfortable. She didn't understand at that moment why he didn't get burned when he touched her. She further asked why he could touch her because it was impossible. He asked her if it could be because he absorbed the energy of the flames in her body and then almost got burned. She asked me not to touch her face anyway. He said that her character was so cruel and arrogant that even if her body temperature was normal, no one would dare to approach her. She said that a lot of young talents were interested in her at the Spirit Eater Academy, but she didn't like him, so she asked him to leave. He said that he came here to take the entrance exam to the academy and asked if she was against traveling together. She said that the entrance exams for the Spirit Eater Academy are fiercely competitive, and even being smart won't do much to help you pass them. He said not to underestimate him. She said that the entrance exam required the candidate to have a contract with the spirit beast, and then asked if he had already made one. He said that he didn't really sign the contract because it was a bit of a hassle. He also remembered at that moment that a spirit eater could have no more than 3 contracts with spirit beasts in his life. She invited him to take a reward for his salvation. He asked if this was the nailing stone. She said that given his knowledge, the nailing stone could be used to enhance other artifacts and imprison spirit beasts. She also advised him to find and imprison the spirit beast before reaching the college. He understood that although this girl's strength was mediocre, she was skilled in manipulating spiritual power. Then they saw something very fast and she asked what it was. He replied that it was a spiritual beast. At the same moment, he remembered that a contract with a spiritual beast could only be concluded while hunting it. He also said that someone was trying to kill the spirit beast, but he injured it, and the injury was quite severe. She noticed that he was very attentive. He understood that his speed was outstanding, and he possessed lightning techniques that were considered the best among the rest. Now the best option is to enter into a contract with this beast, because at the moment, this is his limit. The girl said that he was very lucky because he was a lightning cat with different eyes made of gold and silver. She said he was trying to escape and advised him to catch him. He said that he never left anything out to his advantage and started using the techniques. The girl saw the perfect fusion of spiritual techniques, and the question arose in her mind, how many more secrets does this guy have? At the same moment, a man approached them and asked how they dared to approach the delicacy. The main character asked him if he was opening a restaurant, talking about the delicacy. The girl said that the Gourmet Club is a dark organization that relies on killing spirit eaters, using their skills for self-improvement, and robbing spirit weapons. This man said that he chased this cat for 7 days and nights before seriously injuring it, and they are trying to steal it from him. The girl told him in response that he was not the kindest person, so getting rid of him was considered a matter of duty. She also understood that the main character was 5 levels below this person, and he had not yet entered into a contract with the spirit beast. She wondered if he was going to fight him head-on, given all this. The main character said that the word delicacy sounds good, but he did not expect them to do evil. This person further attacked the main character and said that this is the fire flower technique that he worked hard on for half a year, and once in this array, you just need to wait until he is cut into pieces. The main character said that he sees nothing wrong with the spiritual energy materializing. The girl asked if there was a way to get out of this if he was so calm. The main character told that person that there was no need to show off such a pitiful array, because even though he only had 15 levels, he could easily break it. Seeing the bloody toad pill, this person realized that the protagonist actually had high-rank pills. The girl also understood that this was indeed a rare pill, but with his current cultivation base and after taking it, his spiritual energy in his body would overflow and simply explode. The enemy, seeing that the main character ate the pill, told him that he was an idiot, because such an excellent pill was wasted. The girl noticed that he was really able to stabilize the energy and did not understand how he managed it. Next, the main character was able to hit the enemy, despite the array, which was supposed to deprive him of his hand in the process. The girl realized that although it did not look like all his strength, it was clearly beyond the limits of ordinary practitioners. After the destruction of the formation, the main character approached the enemy, and he asked him how he dared to hit him, and whether he knew who he was. The main character asked him to get up. The main character went on to tell him that he doesn't care who he is because he beat him up because of his abusive behavior. It also doesn't matter to him how long he chased the cat, because the winner will get everything, judging by his principles. The enemy said that he really was wrong and recognized him as a senior, after which he asked to let him go. The main character said that he must pay for this before he lets him go. Next, the main character took it and began to look at how much this guy was carrying with him. Seeing all sorts of ingredients and so many pills, the main character asked if he collected all this himself. The enemy did not answer, but only laughed. The main character continued to look at things, describing them. Next, he found the 4 Open Heaven Clouds talisman and said that it could enhance cultivation, and Peaky Tribute would enhance the attacks of spirit beasts. The girl was even more surprised, because she knows nothing about these artifacts. She also realized that he had keen eyesight and high knowledge. At this point, the enemy decided that they should pay for going through his things. Next, the enemy used a needle soaked in bone-drying poison. If you poison a person with this poison, his insides will gradually burst, and all sorts of blisters will appear on his skin. It's very painful. After piercing the main character's leg with a needle, the enemy began to run away, saying that he would never forget this and would take revenge on him again. The main character said that he didn't want to kill him. He further decided that he must have an antidote. Having found it, he said that he would look at the rest slowly when he got there. The girl asked where his spirit beast was. The main character replied that he was already inside him. The girl understood that a spatial spiritual weapon can store objects in itself, but living beings cannot be stored in it. She was also wondering what other pills this guy had. 3 hours later, the girl led him to Mount Bishung, on the top of which there is an academy of spirit eaters. The main character said that this is a good place for cultivation, because the mountain is shrouded in silver clouds, with a pleasant breeze. On the way to the top, they met some guys, and one of them said that if they want to climb the mountain and register, they should at least defeat them. But if they don't have a spirit beast, then it's better for them to leave here. Another one of the guys said that the Academy of Spirit Eaters is considered the best in the world, where only true dragons can enter. The main character asked if this was the first test. The girl replied that this was just a preliminary check to eliminate the smart people who came without spirit beasts. He said it sounded like she thought he wouldn't pass the test. She asked him not to come close to her. He asked if she would agree to become his subordinate if he could pass the test. He asked not to misunderstand him because he just heard her say that many people were chasing her, but if she became his subordinate, they would simply give up and stop following her. She asked if he knew who she was, daring to suggest such a thing. He asked who she was. She said that she would agree with his argument because he would still fail the test. He then announced his name and added that he had come here to register for the Academy of Spirit Eaters. One of the guys told him that he heard him talking to Sister Long, and not only did he not have a spirit beast, but he also began to lay claim to his sister's beauty, and this was simply insulting. Sister Long told Jung Daj that it was definitely not necessary to kill the main character. The main character said that he did not want to show it, but apparently he would have to, and he asked the nailing stone to free him from the shackles of his spiritual beast. Seeing the shadow wolf, they decided to kill it because it is not a beast, but a monster that uses black magic. One of the guys further thought that the main character really knows great master-level spiritual techniques. The main character asked Daju if he could now see his spirit beast. The girl said that he didn't use any artifacts, but the attack was extremely strong. Daju asked the protagonist if he really killed his spirit beast. The main character asked if he really believed that a spirit beast could be an animal. After that, he said that it was just a serious injury, after which he could take him away and in 2 months he would recover. Daju asked his brothers to kill him and take revenge on him. Chiron approached Daj and asked if, after being defeated by a newcomer, he really refuses to accept defeat and is trying to defeat him with a crowd, and if he is not ashamed. Meanwhile, everyone froze and everyone's feet turned to ice. The main character understood that it looked like these were not ice techniques, but the ability of a spiritual beast that he could not see. Daju told Chiron that his shadow wolf was killed by him and he couldn't just forget about it. Chiron hit Daja and asked him to shut up, because if he could not defeat him, then he must now endure it. Next, he introduced himself to the main character and said that he was Xiao Chiron, who was the deputy of the senior 3rd year of training at the Spirit Eater Academy. The main character greeted him and asked if he would let him through after all this. Chiron replied that he could deceive others with a little trick, but it would not work on him and asked if his beast was an image of the soul. He also added that he cannot let him pass further, because he sees that he came here in order to fool the entire academy. The main character saw a silver fox and realized that although the energy of lightning can restrain flight, it is just an image of the soul that requires energy. The girl understood that Xiao Churan should be feared, because he was instantly able to make a block of such ice without water. If this continues, he may die, and then she will definitely have to help him. At some point during the battle between Churan and the main character, Churan froze and it began to snow. At this moment, Ji Huangyi, who is one of the 8 spirit generals at the Soul Eater Academy and a master of ice techniques, arrived at the site. After arriving, he asked the main character if he would like to become his personal student. Then Churan freed himself from the ice and the teacher asked him what he was up to. Churan replied that now that he stopped him, he will not do anything else, because he realized the mistake and asked for forgiveness after that. He also said that the main character has outstanding talent, and he is glad that he is favorable to him. The main character told the teacher that he did not agree with his decision, because he had not yet passed all the tests but had already been accepted. The teacher asked why he refused to become his student. The main character replied that the reason was that he was not suitable for the role of his teacher. The main character also asked not to misunderstand him, because according to him, simply no one in this world has the right to be his teacher. The teacher laughed and said that this was indeed a serious reason, but he also has reasons for taking him on as an apprentice. He further added that he could allow him to enter Qianling Cave, where he could make a contract with the spirit beast. Sister Long answered his question. What kind of cave is this? That there are a lot of rare animals in it, which the teachers of the academy have been capturing for 1,000 years, and that this is a secret place, so no one knows about it. Churan reminded the teacher that according to the rules, only students who received an A grade in the annual assessment can enter there. The teacher said that the principal once awarded him a chance to enter there, but he had not used it yet. The main character thought that if he could get a spiritual beast in this cave, it would significantly save time, and also being accepted as a student would save him from unnecessary problems at the academy. The main character eventually accepted the offer, and the teacher asked to follow him. The teacher brought him to the elders and told them that this was his personal student, and he needed to check his level of strength. Arriving at the place of inspection, the main character saw and realized that this place was truly worthy of Academy Number 1, because it was truly a magnificent building. The girl told the teacher that she had something to do and asked permission to leave. The teacher allowed her to do this. The main character asked her not to forget about their argument that they had recently. The teacher told the main character that Longxia is a hot thing who is a famous person in the academy, and he is the first one to talk to her like that. The main character told the teacher that he was exaggerating. He further asked why he chose him as a student. The teacher replied that he reminded him of someone he didn't want to talk about yet. He further suggested that they first answer him at the hostel, and they ended up going there. After this, already in the hostel, the main character had a dream in which he was given the last chance to join them while remaining alive. He told them in that dream that the 3 of them killed the devouring god and their comrades for the sake of the god's spiritual weapon, and while he was still alive, he was not going to allow him to even touch it. He was then killed, and he woke up wondering why, after so much time, he was still having that nightmare. 6 gods died, and only 1 soul descended to earth for the sake of rebirth. Because he accidentally discovered a spiritual weapon, he became the only one who remembers the past. A girl knocked on the master's door and said that she had only been away for a month, but he had already accepted a student, and since everything had turned out that way, she wanted to meet him to find out if he was worthy of being her younger brother. She also said that her father asked to bring her tea, and even knowing that he does not accept gifts, she asked him to accept it. He accepted and asked what happened to the things he asked to find. She replied that she had looked at Yixiangju's product lists over the past years and did not find the items he mentioned. The master wondered if it could be that the spiritual weapons of the gods, which they had scattered across the earth, were lost in the desert. She also said that she had 1 artifact, and although it was of a low level, it was most similar to what he described to her. The master asked her where he was now. She replied that she gave it to a friend and added that the appearance of that artifact was completely different, and most likely it was not what he was looking for. He said that he also wanted to believe that this was not what he needed, and asked her to return and rest, and tomorrow he would introduce her to her younger brother. She said that as a junior, he should take the initiative and meet her himself because she doesn't want to go to him herself. She had a question whether this person was more talented than her, because she had to try so that the master would accept her as a student, and the master himself would accept this new student. The main character discovered that there were restaurants at the academy, and he flew to Pizza Hut, and having taken some very tasty food there, decided to return back to the hostel. He further noticed that someone had dared to sneak into the academy. He may be commended for his bravery, but he may be a pickpocket. He decided to further catch up with him and stop him so that he would not be able to do anything bad. The thief fell into some kind of trap somewhere and at first did not understand, but then he understood and regretted it. The main character realized that this is an array of flaming skies installed in the academy, and since it is installed, it means that something wrong is clearly going on in the academy. The array is quite complex, and anyone caught in it will be imprisoned in a cage. The main character pulled him out of there and realized that fortunately he simply lost consciousness. The master said that someone had invaded the academy and that the infiltrator had entered the array. He also asked to quickly examine him. He was informed later that the intruder had escaped from the area. The master said that he most likely suffered greatly due to the array and asked to search everything after that, because he was clearly hiding somewhere. After searching everything around, no one found anything. One of the teachers thought this was strange, and he even had a question whether he really grew wings and flew away or had already made his way into the treasury. The girl woke up and wanted to scream, but the main character closed her mouth and said that if she wants to survive, then she must do everything he tells her. The main character remembered that he had not done this for a long time and decided to show the show today. He quickly moved to the place he needed and allegedly came across the right people, after which he said that he was looking for his girlfriend, and it looked like she was somewhere nearby. The girl played along with him and came around a corner, after which he approached him. He asked her what happened to her clothes and if someone had attacked her. She said that she ran into this yard to hide from him, but suddenly several dark shadows flew in the sky, followed by dazzling flashes of light, after which she does not remember what happened. Bao Xiaoyu asked to stop this performance and said that he had never seen the two of them at the academy and was wondering who they were. The main character asked if he really didn't want to live, since he dared to doubt the disciple of Master Ji Shuangyi. Bao Xiaoyu replied that he did not have a personal disciple like him. One of those standing behind said that he heard that the teacher came down from the mountain today specifically to accept someone as a student. One of the subordinates told the boss that it looked like a normal date, and that it looked like the real intruder had already run away. And Teacher Ji protects his students very well, so the main character should not be offended. They apologized to the main character and the girl and allowed them to pass, after which they went. The main character asked the girl if she knew that there was a forbidden place there. She replied that the academy's greatest secret was kept there. The girl attacked him, and he asked if she still wanted to kill him even after he saved her life. She said that he humiliated her, and everyone who humiliated her is already dead. Now she is wounded, but someday, according to her, she will take revenge on him. After a while, the main character was walking somewhere and thinking that the pills that Imiana gave him helped him quite a lot, so he would need to thank her when he met. The master approached him and asked where he had been. The main character replied that he went out to eat but got lost when returning. The master said that the Academy of Spirit Eaters had many secrets, and if he did not want to get into a bloodbath, then it was better not to delve into them. Next, he gave the main character a letter from his older sister who wants to see him tomorrow. The main character said that by looking at the map from the letter, he could say that he would have to go through several mountains, after which he asked what exactly his sister wanted from him, forcing him to follow her to such a distance. The master replied that he did not ask her what she wanted from him, but she asked him to be careful. The next day he got to the indicated place and said that most likely it was somewhere here, and since she chose such a place, it means she has some plans for it. He shouted to her, and she said that shouting in the territory of the gray-haired mountain gorillas was a bad idea. But if he wants to be her younger brother, then he must pass the exam. She understood that an adult gray-haired gorilla was equal in strength to a level 10 spirit master, and although they would not kill him, it was enough to intimidate him. Although the main character did not hear her, he himself already understood that this was the territory of gray-haired mountain gorillas. Assuming that his sister wanted him to fight them, he decided to leave them. While he was dealing with the gorillas, she found a lot of blood crystals in the cave, from which good spiritual weapons could be forged. But what she next saw in front of her was a golden-haired gorilla with a strength comparable to a level 30 spiritual master. Having settled scores with the gorillas using a lightning chain, he decided to settle scores with his hospitable sister. Coming out of the cave, the sister was surprised, because her brother was able to get rid of all the gray-haired gorillas and remain unharmed. Seeing his sister, the main character said that the world is so small that he did not expect that they would have one master. She said they don't have time to remember the past now. Seeing the beast, he asked if she had really brought a golden-haired mountain gorilla to check on him. She answered negatively. He asked her to stand behind and realized that this gorilla was bypassing 100 gray-haired gorillas, and with his current cultivation, he clearly could not defeat her, despite any strong desire. After that, they jumped into the water, and he told her that she needed to hold on to him, because the current here was too strong. Then they were carried away somewhere, and he asked her what kind of place it was. She replied that in fact they ended up in the Qianling cave, and it turns out that in addition to the main entrance to the academy, there is another one through the underground rivers. The main character went further, and she told him that Qianling is the center of the academy, and he will not be able to get here without permission, so he should not go further. The main character asked if she was going to leave from here through the same river. He also told her that the master promised him that he would take him here to search for a contract spirit beast, so he would take the opportunity to find a suitable one. She said that there are animals here of at least yellow level 5 and above. She also added that the rougher he goes, the stronger the beasts will be, and he, like her, will not be able to catch the local spiritual beasts with the current cultivation base. She also said that from above there are 4 spiritual kingdoms. This is the heavenly kingdom, the earthly kingdom, the mysterious and yellow kingdom. Each of them consists of 9 stages. Also, all spiritual beasts are divided into 10 attributes. These are gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, light, and darkness. Different attributes can complement each other or, on the contrary, can weaken the effects depending on the combination. The main character said that he understood everything and asked what level she thought the beast behind her was. She turned around, saw and said that it was a frosty giant anaconda from the Yellow Kingdom with level 6. Meanwhile, the student came to one of the masters and said that she did not have enough strength to penetrate the secret room. He reminded her that he had told her to wait for the moment, but she had rushed and almost ruined his magnificent plan. He further said that Zhengyu Palace needs a batch of high-level spirit beasts, and the Spirit Eater Academy has excellent specimens, so it should immediately find out the whole situation in Qianling Cave. She didn't understand how she was supposed to get to this holy land of the Spirit Eater Academy. Meanwhile, Imiana and the main character were dodging the anaconda, and she said that although this anaconda is level 6 yellow, it has very strong armor. It seemed strange to the main character that this anaconda was very cunning and intelligent, and he even had a question whether this was really the effect of the Qianling cave. But first he decided to figure out a way to deal with her so as not to attract the attention of other spirits. Next, he asked Imiana to divert her attention because he needed a little time. She remembered that since she is the older sister, she must protect her younger brother. After these thoughts, she activated her 6-winged spiritual butterfly mind nebula and began to distract the anaconda's attention. But the protagonist's plan failed, and he further said that as long as the beast's spiritual armor is active, no attack will work. Based on this, he decided that if they wanted to defeat the beast, they would first need to block its flow of spiritual energy. He then used the chains that bound the spirit and destroyed it. Due to the cold, the anaconda's body eventually shattered and instantly turned into ice. The protagonist said after that if she were to fight another spirit beast, if she lost, she would freeze it with her body. So in his opinion, she was truly a terrifying opponent. Then some animal fell out of the ice, and the sister said that most likely it was the cub of another spiritual beast, whose parents were killed by an anaconda, and since it did not freeze because of the corpse, this means that it has a fire attribute. The main character said that his eyebrows are like clouds, his eyes are like the blue sky, and his mouth is graceful, with which he can swallow mountains and rivers. At that moment, a question arose in his mind. Could this really be Tunmulshenchu from ancient legends? According to legend, in the battle between gods and demons, Tuemulshenchu swallowed 100,000 demons in one gulp, and therefore the gods could not decide who won, and although now it is just a cub, it is the ideal spiritual beast for him. At this moment, they were asked who dared to enter Qianling Cave. The main character said that they were looking for a way out of Qianling Cave. The sister asked if they knew where the exit was. The questioner said that this is a good opportunity to teach him a lesson for last time, because he escaped him that time, but this time he will definitely not escape. The master approached them, and he told him that he met the main character on the way here, and he poisoned him using a vile method. The master said that if such people still exist, he will deal with them. The children of rich families at the academy have created a high society, and they all enter there. They also try to exclude such ignorant students as him. The main character did not understand what the connection was between high society and the gourmet club. The sister asked him to open his eyes wider and look carefully at who was standing in front of him. About the main character, she said that this is her younger brother, and that he should not go against them. Zhang Wanli said that Xiao Churan told him that there was a newcomer whom Ji Shuangyi accepted, even though he did not have a spirit beast. At this moment, the main character took the animal and invited it to be his spirit beast and enter into a contract. Sister asked if he really chose him as a spirit beast. In her mind, she wondered if he knew the importance of choosing a spirit beast for spirit eaters. The enemy laughed and said that he thought that he was going to look for a strong spirit beast and run away from them, but he chose some unknown beast that was not yet old enough to fight. The main character mentally told the animal that he actually had to use spiritual power to conclude a contract, but it turned out to be not so simple. One of the guys said that he was a fool, and that now he would show him what a real spiritual beast is, after which he summoned a fiery hyena from the Yellow Kingdom with level 7. The guy who poisoned the main character said that he went a little too far because suddenly he died. Zhang Wanli replied that in this cave no one would know that he was dead. The main character, repelling the attack, said that since they dared to attack them in the Chunling cave, then they really were scum. One of the guys asked how the main character could resist such power and repel attacks. Another said that in that case he would try something else. The main character said that there would definitely not be a second time, after which he began to attack them. But a dark mantis from the Yellow Kingdom with level 7 intervened in their battle. The enemy asked his other assistants to attack him together, because in his opinion he should not withstand such pressure. The sister said that they really were scoundrels because they definitely lost their pride, since they decided to attack 2 against 1. She also said that in this case she would not stand aside. The main character told his sister that she didn't need help, because he could handle it himself. At some point, the protagonist's spirit beast fell out and he jumped to it and said that it was his partner, so he would not let anyone harm him. Then an explosion occurred and one of the enemies said that it was too strong, and that most likely even his corpse turned to ashes from such a powerful explosion. But a little later, one of the enemies said that he was able to defend himself with the help of a barrier that he managed to build around himself. Another said that his spirit beast did it, but such a barrier could have been created by a beast of at least level 9 of the Yellow Realm. The sister breathed a sigh of relief, because she did not know how she would explain this to the master in the event of his death. After this, the enemies decided to seize the spiritual animal of the main character and kill the main character himself. But having repelled this attack, the main character advised them to use some other tricks that they had. One of the enemies said that he was new to them, and he had the courage to be so rude to them, and since everything turned out that way, then he, as the eldest, would teach him a lesson. The main character said that he has a fairly dense aura. Sister said that Zhang Wanli's cultivation had reached level 25, which was quite a lot. The main character told Zhang Wanli that when meeting an animal on a narrow path, one should not show cowardice, and then asked if he thought he could scare it away. Zhang Wanli said that he doesn't understand how big the sky is. If he dared to fight him, he would tear him apart. My sister, watching all this, did not understand how the main character, clearly being at level 15, fought on equal terms. The main character knew that Tongmul Shenchu could increase his strength, but he did not expect that it would be so strong. Jiang Wanli realized that the protagonist was getting stronger and stronger, and asked his other brothers to join the battle against the protagonist, which they did. The sister said that if they think that she will stand after this, then they are mistaken, because she is also joining the battle. As a result of their battle, an explosion occurred, after which a crack formed, into which the main character fell with his sister and a spiritual beast. One of the enemies said that their joint attack could affect the environment. In addition, there are many cast caves in Chunling Cave, and most likely they fell into one of them and died under the rubble. Seeing that the crack continued to grow, they began to run away from there. The main character, upon landing, told his sister that they were very lucky with her, because even though they fell here, they remained alive. She asked what good he saw in this, because even if they survived, they were still stuck in this trap and they could only wait for death. The main character realized that judging by the time of the fall, they fell at least 30 meters, and if they want to get out, then they need to have at least a level 25 existence base. Even constant cultivation will take at least a year for this. The animal jumped to the main character, and the sister said that it was good that he did not run away from them. The main character said that it looked like he recognized him as the master. Having hidden the animal in a pendant, he thought that it too could absorb heaven and earth. Seeing what the main character began to cultivate, the sister asked where he was in such a hurry. Seeing further the absorption of natural energy, the question arose whether there could be some kind of ancient treasure that is hidden somewhere, or whether the main character is doing it. Deputy Dean of the Chiqiao Spirit Eater Academy, Cheng Kaiyu asked Zhang Wanli what happened to them and where they were running from. He replied that while on patrol, they noticed 2 disciples who broke into the cave, hunting and killing spirit beasts. He tried to stop them, but they angered the beast and it destroyed the cave. Cheng Kaiyu asked if he was sure that they were disciples of their sect and how they were able to get into the cave. Jiang Wanli replied that they were similar to teacher Ji Shuangyi's personal disciples that he had once asked teacher Ji about. Cheng Kaiyu said that this was outrageous, and that he would go to Ji Shuangyi to sort it out. Jiang Wanli was happy because before he had never been able to find fault with that teacher, but now he will happily watch how he will explain everything. Next, Long Xia came to Ji Shuangyi and asked if he knew where the main character was now. The teacher said that yesterday he did not pay attention to the fact that she, it turns out, is already a keeper. She replied that she was a second-year student and the captain of the Yulin Guardians. They were ordered to investigate yesterday's infiltration into the forbidden territory of the academy, and according to security, at night they noticed a girl with the main character. Master said that the Guardians are in charge of security and are divided into Qinglong, Baihu, Suzaku, and Xuanwu departments. All members of the academy are the academy's elite, and only third-year students can become captains. He also told her that if she stood out too much, she would attract too much attention from people who would want to know her secrets. She asked him what he meant and mentally wondered if he really knew her true identity. The teacher said that the main character went somewhere with his older sister, but he doesn't know where exactly. After her, Cheng Kaiyu came to him and said that his student had committed a terrible crime, and he was still sitting and drinking tea. Teacher Ji asked the vice dean what happened and why he was so angry. The vice dean asked the teacher if he knew where his personal students were now. Long Xia asked Jiang Wanli if he knew where the main character was now, because she needed to ask him something. The teacher had mental questions about what is happening today and why everyone is looking for the main character. Jiang Wanli told Long Xia that most likely she would not be able to talk to him anymore, because he and Dimiana secretly entered the Qianling cave, and after the battle with a high-ranking beast, they most likely died under the rubble in the cave. The vice dean told the teacher that if he had not indulged his students, they would have avoided this situation. The teacher asked how they got into Qianling cave and where the guards were stationed to prevent them from going there. The vice dean said they used his name and got in there. Everyone accepts one student, but he has two of them, and they were able to force those who denied. Long Xia said that there were more and more spectators, so she ordered that teacher Ji be protected while they waited for the dean's orders. Arriving at the teacher, Imiana said that it looked like they were having some kind of meeting here. Teacher Jia was surprised that the main character broke through to level 25 in half a day together, with the rarest spiritual beast Shanhe Pixu. Jiang Wanli asked the main character why he was still alive and whether he was still a person or if he was already a ghost. The vice dean asked if he had died under the rubble in the cave and why he was unharmed. The main character asked Jiang why he thought he was a ghost. Jiang replied that he was not going to deny that he had seen with his own eyes the destruction of Qianling Cave at his hands. The main character said that it was obvious that it was Jiang who got involved with the gourmet club, because when they encountered him in the cave, they were killing beasts and causing chaos. Jiang Wanli said that he only asked the club for help because he didn't want to give him the spirit beast. The main character told him that he forgot to mention that after that he attacked them and destroyed the cave. Jiang Wanli told the main character that for trying to slander him, he would teach him a lesson with the help of an electric palm. Long Xia asked Suzaku to protect him, realizing that electric palm was Jiang Wanli's main technique, and the protagonist's cultivation level was not high enough to withstand it. But she was wrong because the main character squeezed Jiang Wanli's hand and threw him away, saying that it was useless to try to kill him. Teacher Ji told the main character that Suzaku was already here and that they would handle the matter. And mentally, he understood that his student was hiding many secrets from him. Long Xia understood that she had not seen the main character for only a few days, and he had already managed to break through to level 25, and therefore she assumed that either they were all bad or he was too talented. After thinking, she told him that for now they would interrogate Jiang Wanli, and after that she wanted to find out the details of last night from him. Teacher Ji asked the vice dean if he would like to have a cup of tea with him. The vice dean replied that he had a lot of unfinished business, so he would leave. After all this, Imiana told the master that she knew that she was wrong, and promised that this would not happen again. The master asked how they could calmly drink tea with him after creating so many problems. The sister replied that they were just tired from the road, and besides, they had known each other for a long time. The main character confirmed this, and she almost became his wife. The master laughed and thought that she was very fierce in battle at first, and now she blushes so cutely. Then Saran came to them, greeted the teacher, and said that he had come to the main character. The main character told the master that he had an important matter with Saran and asked him to let him go. The master agreed to let him go. The main character and Saran eventually came to the restaurant and told the main character to Saran that the food here was divine. Saran replied that he only joined the academy 2 days ago and already has such deep knowledge about food here. Next, the main character asked Saran who taught him the suspended animation spell that he used at his home. He replied that he found knowledge about this art in one of the abandoned courtyards of the academy, and from time to time he practices it. The main character said that this art is very important to him, and that he wants to find out where this abandoned courtyard is. The main character understood that it was quite possible that the person who attacked him then hid in the Academy of Spirit Eaters. At the High Society headquarters, Qin Wuliang, the president of the High Society, said that their society had lost its face in front of the entire academy because of the main character. Xian told the president that the main character is not the only one waving at him, so they should get rid of him. However, this time he did not come for this, and asked if they had already discovered the imperial princess. Another told Xian that he provided too little information about her. The academy has more than 1,000 students, and it's not so easy to find. They need to obtain information directly from the academy's archives, but Teacher Ji will not allow this. Bao Xian said at this moment that he had one way. The president asked how he wanted to get rid of the teacher. Bao Xian said that he could get rid of not only Teacher Ji, but also the main character, but it would take him a little time. On the way, the main character sneezed, and Saran asked him if he had a cold. The main character answered negatively and said that it was quite possible that someone was cursing him at this moment. They finally arrived, and the main character asked where there were such abandoned places in the academy. Saran replied that 6 months ago students lived here, but strange things began to happen, and so they left this place. He also said that during all this time at least 10 students went missing here, of whom no traces or corpses were found. He also added that he was very interested in this matter, so he visited this place. But apart from the notes, he found nothing. The main character saw traces of a magic circle, and most likely it was drawn with the bone of the Xuanjian dragon. He also noticed that a magic circle was secretly activated in this room, devouring spirits, and most likely it absorbed those students. But who did it remains a mystery. At that moment he saw that someone was following them, and he and Saran eventually began to look for him. The main character caught up and recognized the very girl he saved at night, and asked her why she was pursuing him. She replied that in fact she was also a student at the academy who was just passing by. She did not understand at this moment why the curse was activated at this moment. He also asked her if she was in her right mind to run around with the death seal. After that, he asked her to stop, because he could help her temporarily stabilize her. As a result, it stopped and he began to stabilize, but realizing that there was dark energy in this seal, it would be a little harder than expected. After that, he asked to tell him why she, calling herself an ordinary student and having a deadly curse, was watching him. Otherwise, he would report her to the academy. She replied that she was pursuing him on the orders of the master, who also ordered her to find a secret passage to the Qianling cave. She also added that fortunately he left her alive, and if she completes this task, she will be able to atone for her guilt. He asked if she was a member of the delicatessen having such an evil master. She replied that she didn't know what a gourmet club was, but anyway, she was from Zhengyu Palace. She further said that Zhengyu Palace is the main organization of assassins on the mainland, and they complete all missions perfectly and without mistakes. Although she is not a full-fledged member of the palace master cares about her and entrusts her with missions, so she cannot let him down. He said that this was strange, because a normal master would not bother setting up deadly curses and would not, moreover, use people as expendable tools. She said that he felt this way because only men could be members of the palace. Since he made an exception for her, she will not allow him to slander the master. The main character said that this deadly curse is extremely dangerous, and even if she is given medicine to alleviate it, it will still spread throughout the body, and someday reach the heart, and then even the gods will not save her. She said that this definitely did not concern him and began to run away from him. The main character shouted that in any case he had already saved her, so he wanted to at least hear her name. She returned and said her name was Feng Weixia. He said his name and added that if the seal was activated again, then she could find him and he would save her. He told Saran, who came running after that most likely it was a wild cat, and also added that he had heard that the vanilla shrimp at Pizza Hut were very tasty, so they could go there and he would treat him. After that, he returned to the master, who told him and Imiana that they had not been practicing much lately, but now they had time to practice. He also told the main character separately that even though he was a newbie, he had made a lot of noise around himself. The main character agreed and realized that now the teacher was watching him, and that now it would be much more difficult for him to explore the Delicacies Club, and that guy had disappeared after leaving the Qianling cave. At that moment, someone came to them and told the teacher that the elder of the disciplinary council had asked to invite him and the main character to his place. The teacher agreed to go. The elder of the disciplinary council is responsible for enforcing the rules at the Spirit Eater Academy. If the rules are violated, the person is expelled from the academy. After they came to the elder asked the teacher how he dared to accept a student without a spirit beast, because this was a violation of the rules of the academy. The teacher replied that the main character is extremely talented, and besides, one day the dean told him that it is not necessary to have a spirit beast upon admission, and besides, the main character signed a contract on the second day after admission. Qin Wuliang laughed when he heard about the dean's words being used as an excuse, and then asked the teacher why he chose the main character, and how exactly he was able to catch the spirit beast after entering the academy. He also said, without waiting for an answer, that he investigated the matter and sent several people to the main character's hometown and found out that the main character is Teacher Ji's nephew. He further accused Teacher Ji of only accepting the main character because of family ties, thereby violating many of the academy's rules, which is disgusting. He also added that as soon as the main character entered the academy, someone entered the restricted area, and the security confirmed that the main character was present there and freed the female suspect. After that, he asked the main character who he helped then. He replied that he dated that girl, but she found him not attractive enough and left him. He was not in a close relationship with her, so he does not know her name. The girl understood at that moment, watching all this, that although he was in danger, he did not reveal it. The elder decided to sentence Teacher Ji and the main character to 10 days in prison, as well as expulsion from the academy after notifying the dean. The main character said that in the end, he was accepted here because of his strength, and he asked after that if they really wouldn't bother to look at her. They asked him what he wanted to show. The main character said that he has a great way to prove his innocence, regardless of whether the evidence provided is true. The elder asked what kind of method. After that, the main character challenged Qin Wuliang and said that he just wants to defeat him and prove his innocence to everyone, because he knows that all these crimes are lies and that he just wants to frame him. After all this, in the Hall of High Society, Qin Wuliang said that the main character was quite strange, because he challenged him and set the time for the battle in 3 days. Everyone laughed at this, and one of those present said that most likely he was driven into a corner and had nothing else to defend himself with, so he chose the direct path. Further, at the academy, Imiana told the main character that he was a fool. The main character said that it's great that Pizza Hut offers delivery. She asked what he was thinking about challenging Qin Wuliang, who was at level 30. The main character asked her why she was so worried about him dying and whether she loved him. She answered negatively. The teacher asked him not to underestimate Qin Wuliang, because he has the strength to cut iron with his bare hands, and his contract beast is the purple winged dragon of the Yellow Realm. The main character asked not to worry about him because it doesn't matter to him how strong he is. He further said that he would go for a walk. During the walk, he assumed that the enemy would prepare some tricks, but this was not so scary. After all, the most important information is whether he practiced dark magic. After finding Lanshan, Lori Flower, Cloud Ginkgo, and many other medicinal herbs, he decided to make pills out of them to bridge the level gap between them. He remembered that yesterday, when he ran here, he felt the aura of this place, and now he realized that there was medicinal herbal lard, so he would not have to worry about the materials. He didn't know who the owner of this garden was, but now there was an emergency, and so he was forced to take some herbs and then return them back after the fight. At the same moment, someone suddenly appeared next to him. The man who appeared asked if he was collecting herbs here. The main character asked if he's the owner of this garden. The old man replied that he was not the owner of this garden, but he looked after it from time to time. And about collecting herbs, he asked the main character not to worry, because he can take any herbs he needs. The main character thanked him and said that as soon as he makes the pills, he will return everything he took. The old man understood that all the herbs that he collected were the rarest of their kind, and not many knew about them, and the question arose in his mind whether he was really a rank 3 alchemist at such a young age. The main character also said that the herbs that he had already collected were enough for him, and asked the old man to convey his gratitude to the owner of this place. The old man agreed to pass it on. The main character did not expect that there would be so many good medicinal materials in this garden, from which he could earn a decent amount. Looking at the main character leaving, the old man was a little upset, because he had worked for a long time for decades and grown these herbs. This old man turned out to be the dean, to whom at that moment someone came and said that he should return, because he would have a meeting soon. Further, after the return of the main character, Seiron came to him with Long Xia, and Seiron told him that he heard that he was going to fight Qin Wuliang. He further said that it was too dangerous and asked him to abandon this idea. Long Xia said that it would be pure suicide because there is a huge difference between them, so she advised him to quickly pack his things and run away from here. The main character thanked him for his concern and said that he himself understood everything. After that, he closed the door in front of them. Then he wondered what kind of pill to prepare. He knew many recipes, but it was difficult for him to choose the one he needed. Feng Weixia came to him at that moment and said that he did not have to fight Qin Wuliang to protect her. After all, he can simply give her away, after which he will be released. The main character asked if no one really believed in his strength and that he could defeat Qin Wuliang. 3 days later, Imiana asked the teacher where the main character went, because she could not find him anywhere. Exactly at the appointed time, the main character came, and Qin Wuliang told him that after death he would go to hell because of his stupidity, and that the hour of his death would come today. He also told the main character that even if he took some pills in the last 3 days, his time has still come and nothing will save him. The main character asked the president if he sent anyone to follow him, and if he was worried about him. Otherwise, he sees that from constant training, the bags under his eyes have become larger. The president said that he would teach him such a lesson that he would remember it for the rest of his life. The president began the battle with a blow from the dragon's soul, but the main character did not feel it particularly on himself. Imiana was glad that the main character was able to block the blow with his incredibly dense spiritual energy. The teacher did not understand how in 3 days the main character managed to equalize the huge gap of power with the president, and the question arose in him whether he really used some kind of forbidden pills for this. The president asked the main character what he had done to himself. He replied that everyone had their own secrets and that all he had to do was attack him with everything he had. The president understood that he could not give in, and that he must destroy him as soon as possible. The president further said that now, even if he uses his full power, it will not work because he is summoning a yellow-rank purple-winged dragon with a fire attribute. The main character said that there is no need to rejoice ahead of time, because he is not the only one who has a spirit beast. The president was surprised to see that he was able to stop the consuming flames. The main character then launched a retaliatory attack, and one of those present asked the main character how he dared to cheat. Next, the president's assistants decided to attack the main character and kill him for cheating. Seeing this, Imiana decided to participate as well. Seiron, Feng Weixia, and Long Xia joined her, because they felt that the battle was not fair when everyone was going against one. One of the enemies did not understand where these idiots came from, but despite this, he decided that if they wanted it that way, they would die along with the main character. Long Xia asked during the battle how they were not ashamed to show their such weak strength. Feng Weixia evaded enemy attacks so quickly that she was not even visible. Another enemy decided to try to burn them all again, thinking that he would succeed. But Imiana set up the 10,000 spring flower spiritual wall and stopped this fiery attack. The enemy was surprised to see that this girl was able to stop his fire star. He was asked to continue attacking because she clearly wouldn't last that long. The main character asked him to take better care of himself and attacked him from behind. After the attack, the enemy asked if he had not been taught the ethics of duels, according to which attacking from behind is meanness. Another of the enemies told the main character that he had nowhere to rush, because in any case he would fall by his hand. And he used the solid key of the protective barrier to attack. One of the teachers said that it looked like the outcome of the battle would change, because the unique technique of the Ulian family, known for its strongest defensive ability, had already been put into use. The enemy reminded the main character that he should never rejoice ahead of time, and since everything is over now, he must die. But despite the fact that Qin Wuliang used solid ki, the main character was able to break through it and was able to harm him. After this, the main character told the enemy that he could keep his advice to himself, because he definitely wouldn't need it. The teacher did not understand how the main character could find out about the technique that was created by Baoyun Sangxian in the divine world and use it in this battle. He even suggested that it might be him. The main character told the enemy that this blow had seriously damaged his internal organs, and therefore it was better for him to surrender. The enemy said that since he is the president of the High Society of the Academy of Spirit Eaters, he cannot lose, and using a dark spell, he continued to attack the main character. But the main character dodged the attack and the enemy fell to the ground after that. In this battle, the main character was declared the winner. The dean asked his subordinates to go and pick up Qin Wuliang and bring him to him, because he wanted to ask him a few questions. He saw him use a spell containing dark energy and wondered where he learned it. The main character was congratulated on his victory, and he said that he really wanted to thank them too, because they won together. Next, the main character was told by Qin Wuliang's accomplices that they had discovered his rival in the form of the intruder's girl who had sneaked into the forbidden territory of the academy. At that moment, some guy told them all that they had misunderstood everything because he was a witness to their innocence. She also said that he could justify them. He told the main character that he makes him admire him because he was able to get the support of his family, got into the Academy of Spirit Eaters, and was able to publicly defeat Qin Wuliang himself. The main character asked who he was. This guy told him that it was normal that he did not know him because they had never met face to face with him, and in other words, he was not interested in him before. He also said that his name was Huang Duoduo, and that his grandmother was his eldest aunt, meaning they were cousins. He told one of those present that he could prove that there were no family ties between the main character and Ji Shuangyi. Moreover, he has a clear representation of family ties in the protagonist's family. The one to whom he told this replied that he was simply responsible for the results of the battle, and that it was useless to tell him this. Qin Wuliang asked where this savage came from and who he thought he was. That man repeated once again that he was only responsible for the results of the battle. Huang Duoduo told Qin Wuliang that even his father would not dare to talk to him like that, and that he was clearly seeking death. The president said that his father was considered the richest man in the largest country on the continent, even in the Shengshan Empire itself. Huang Duoduo said, and proved with a token that he was the crown prince of the Shangtian Empire, and then asked if he really dared to threaten him with his father. The main character said that he was surprised that his brother was actually a prince. Imiana said what was more incredible was that he didn't know about it. The prince further said that as for the girl Feng Weixia, she is his servant sent to help the main character, so this is all a misunderstanding. The president accused the prince of deception, for which he, in his opinion, should die, and then began to attack him. The dean stopped the attack and said that Huang Duoduo was indeed a prince, so all his words were trustworthy, and he ordered Qin Wuliang to be locked in a dungeon for falsifying evidence and using dark spells. Turning his attention to the dean, the main character recognized him as the same old man who allowed him to take herbs from the garden. One of the members of the gourmet club said that the president turned out to be trash who could not even defeat the main character, and asked how he should now complete the task. Another told him that it wasn't so bad because they could take advantage of everyone being here now. Someone told someone that Qin Wuliang knows too much, so they need to get rid of him. They agreed to fulfill his request. The prince, meanwhile, suggested that the main character go somewhere to eat, because he was treating him today. The main character agreed with the proposal. Teacher Ji approached them before they left and asked the main character to answer honestly the question of whether he correctly understood that he was from the world of the gods. The main character replied that he did not understand what he was asking him about. Trying to get to the bottom of the truth, the teacher said that his technique was able to withstand solid ki, and this is not something that the technique of mortals is capable of. The main character, also trying to get to the bottom of the truth, asked a counter question whether he himself came from the world of the gods, since he is so sure of it. The teacher changed the topic of conversation and suggested that he eat first, otherwise he was very hungry. The main character said that he is also hungry, so he agrees to go. Then the teacher realized that it was too risky, and that he should not reveal himself, because Tianluo and the other three were looking for artifacts left by the 6 gods in the mortal world, and they would definitely send more people to the lower worlds. The main character had questions about whether the teacher was also from the world of the gods and who he even was. He also wondered if he was an accomplice of the killer who killed him. The prince asked the main character how he could, in just 6 months, turn from ordinary trash into a genius, which occurs once every 100 years. Long Xia asked the main character where he learned to make pills, because in just 3 days he was able to close the gap between himself and Qin Wuliang, and this is only possible with the help of pills. Saran said he was interested too. The main character replied that in fact everything is very simple. The main character pointed to the door and said that the dean was coming to them, and while they were distracted, he ran away. Then they noticed his disappearance and said that he also took a piece of pizza with him. The main character, already on the roof, thought that he couldn't tell them everything because they would definitely suspect him of something then. Besides, we need to finish the remaining work as soon as possible. Next, with the help of his spiritual beast, the main character made his way into Qin Wuliang's prisoner's cell while he was still alive. When the president asked what he was doing here, the protagonist replied that he just wanted to know where he learned about dark spells. The president said that he did not know about any dark spells, and if he entered the secret prison guarded by the guardians of Yulin just for this, then he did it in vain. The main character said that most likely, this is all because of the Delicacies Club. And since Jiang Wanli personally met a member of this organization, this proves his connection with them, and the missing students are most likely the work of the Delicacies Club. The president asked how he knew all this, since he had only been here for a few days. The main character said that either he will tell everything he knows, or he will rot in this prison with all his secrets. The president said that these dark spells were indeed given to them by the Delicacies Club, but in return they had to help them find the princess hiding within the walls of the academy. The main character asked why they were looking for the princess. The president replied that they were following the orders of the man who taught them dark spells, and although he had not seen him before, he had heard Xian call him a divine messenger. At that moment, someone following an order killed the president and began to run away after that. The main character began to catch up with him, and on the way said that trying to escape from him was useless. The main character managed to overtake him, and he told the killer that although he is well acquainted with the local roads, even so he cannot escape, so he advises him to surrender. The killer told the main character that he was really good. However, if he wants to catch it, he will still have to work a little. After that, he asked if he really thought his goal was to kill the president. Then, without waiting for an answer, he said that he was his real target. The main character saw the circle connecting the soul, which had been drawn here in advance, and realized that he had fallen into its trap. The enemy further said that in this circle he would not be able to use his spiritual energy, and after the assistants appeared with weapons, he said that he would be happy to see what he would do this time, ordering the assistants to kill him. The main character said that it looks like he really wants him dead, since he even sent assassins with formation amulets to him. Seeing that the circle had no effect on the killers, the main character decided that he needed to get out of it faster. At this moment, the artifact of the Queen of Seven Colors changed its appearance and then dissipated the circle. The enemy did not understand what kind of artifact this was, and how he was able to dispel his magic circle. Then the main character realized that this was a great chance, and he ordered his spiritual beast to show himself to them. But the enemy escaped, making the protagonist regret the missed chance. After that, he thought that this spiritual artifact itself had improved and become much more powerful, and that most likely this artifact was not from the mortal world. Long Xia ran to the main character and asked him what happened. The main character replied that Qin Wuliang was killed in his cell. He chased the killer, but he escaped. He also asked if they were supposed to be in charge of security. Long Xia replied that someone had sneaked into the academy's archives and stolen many of the students' files, so all the guardians of Yulin were sent there to investigate, and because of this they have few free hands. The main character realized that this time he had come across a truly insidious enemy, who had planned everything step by step. Meanwhile, seeing Bao Xian running away from the protagonist, another member of the Gourmet Club said that he was just in time because he had finally found her, and now he knows who this princess is. In the Tianshu Tower at the academy, one of the teachers accused the vice dean of Lankyun, Bai Yunbing, that he was responsible for data being stolen from such an important place, so he should be punished. Bai Yunbing said that yesterday it was not just 2 thieves who attacked, but a whole group, and 14 guards were injured in the process. The vice dean of Jinyu Academy, Lei Qing, said that most likely they were connected with the murder of Qin Wulian, and now the most important thing is to determine their goal and take immediate action. After Long Xia and others came to them, the dean asked them to lock the gates to the academy and prepare for battle. The dean also said that the Qinglong Baihu and Xuanwu departments were responsible for the defense outside the academy, and Suzaku would patrol the area inside the academy. He forbade Long Xia to go to the front line. Meanwhile, the main character lay and thought that the Queen of Seven Flowers reminded him more and more of Long Dinglin, and decided to pay more attention to this artifact. The teacher asked him to go to training, and he began to get ready there. After he left, the teacher said that he wanted to teach them a technique, after which he asked them to watch carefully and then repeat. Having seen the illusion of freezing the earth, he realized that even though it was an illusion, the body still felt the cold, and thus he could freeze a person to death, and the cause of death would be difficult to establish. Remembering that this technique was similar to Linghan Yushen's technique, he began to wonder who the teacher really was. The teacher thought about this plan all night and decided to take a risk, because if the main character can break this ice, then he will prove that he is one of the 7 gods. The main character understood that only with the help of his unique art of cutting the soul would he be able to get out of his technique. But after that, he would understand exactly who he was. The main character almost burned himself to death, But at that time the enemies arrived, and the main character, in a sense, was grateful to them that they helped him not to give him away. The main character said that this is a gourmet food club, and that they decided to attack from underground. Imiana asked how they dared to sneak into the academy, and if they were looking for death. Longxia saw that the enemies had come to Teacher Ji and asked the Suzaku guards to go there to attack. As soon as the enemies from the Earth Dragon group saw Longxia, they gave a signal. The leader decided after this to move on to the next step, namely a full attack on the Academy of Spirit Eaters. And after that, a fierce battle began near the academy using all possible techniques and animals. Someone sent the thought straight to the main character's head that he doesn't have to participate in the battle, because what's more important now is to find Longxia. The main character did not quite understand who contacted him. As it turned out, it was the dean, who also conveyed that their main task was her, so they needed to find and protect her. Realizing that Longxia was a princess, he quickly began searching for her. Meanwhile, she interrogated one of the enemies, asking him about the purpose of the infiltration. The enemy said that according to intelligence, there should be 80 people in Suzaku, but he only saw a few and then asked if everyone else had gone to battle. She told him that in order to get information out of him, she alone was enough. The enemy laughed and said that it actually worked, after which more enemies began to arrive. After arriving, the leader said that he was glad to meet the princess. Seeing many enemies near the princess, the main character realized that he was late, and remembering that he used a 6-pointed pill to defeat Qin Wuliang, and realizing that his body might not be able to handle another one, he decided to take a risk. One of the assistants put the princess to sleep, and the leader asked him to inform the other brothers about the retreat. Seeing the main character, the leader said that this time he brought the elite of the gourmet club with him, so he could now feel their power, after which he ordered them all to kill him. The main character, using the technique of devouring the golden dragon, began to fight with them. One of the surviving enemies was surprised that the main character instantly, like a monster, destroyed the entire group of attackers. Next, the main character attacked Xian, who said during the attack that he would help him return the princess, but the main character was not interested in his words. After a while, one of the enemies in the interrogation room asked how they dared to tie him up without evidence, and even if there was evidence, the Delicacies Club would defeat the academy. At that moment, the main character came to them and asked the teacher if he wanted to talk more. The teacher confirmed this and said that despite this, they would continue the interrogation. The main character said that for now they could safely go eat, because the dean asked him to take care of it. They agreed and began to leave. After they left and closed the doors, the main character asked the enemy if he really wanted to play with him, because if so, he came to him and was ready to begin the interrogation. After the beating, the enemy said that their empire had been standing like a bone in their throat for a long time, so they wanted to change the emperor, and 6 months ago the envoy told them that the princess was studying at this academy. When asked about the divine messenger, he said that this is the one who taught them special techniques, and he is also the teacher of their masters. He guaranteed them victory over the empire if all orders were fulfilled. The dean said that the power of this divine messenger is great, because 4 months ago he single-handedly destroyed the Eagle City. The enemy said that if they are afraid of him, then they should let him go because he has connections with him. The main character told the dean that they must hurry up and save the princess, because the fate of the empire depends on it. One of the vice deans asked him how dare he tell them what to do as a newbie, and whether he understood what they would have to sacrifice to save her from the hands of the Delicacies. Another vice dean said that they were just an academy, and they shouldn't act so rashly. Besides, they had some envoy with great power. The main character said that since she was caught because of his mistake, and since they are afraid to confront them, he will go to fight with them alone. Saren told the vice deans that he would go to fight them along with the main character. They were also joined by the prince Feng Weixia and Yimiana, who, as an older sister, must protect the younger one. Teacher Ji told the main character that he would not let him go alone, and after that he told the vice deans that he, as their master, should also go and look after them. The dean told the main character that he should stay and everyone else could go. The main character said that he is doing this of his own free will, and since she is his friend, he cannot just sit idly by. Meanwhile, the Imperial Army came to the academy and asked to hand over the person responsible for the disappearance of the princess. The dean asked what the situation was now, and how many warriors had gathered. The vice dean replied that there were already tens of thousands near the academy, and they started shelling and offered to hand over the main character as the culprit. Imiana told him that he was the one who failed to hold the defense, so the main character should not be blamed. Moreover, Xian is still at the academy and you can pass it. The dean asked them to stop arguing because he would personally deal with this himself. The main character said that there was only an ordinary general outside the gates, and since it is not typical for the dean to report to such people, he himself would go out to talk to him. He eventually left the academy and said that the Academy of Spirit Eaters was the best in the world, after which he asked how they dare surround it and attack innocent students. Feeling a powerful will, the general had a question whether he was really one of the masters, but realizing that he looked too young, he decided to ask who he was. The soldiers replied to the general that it looked like this was the main character, and according to rumors, it was because of him that everything happened. The main character said that the Delicatessen Club organization was to blame for everything, and that they were the ones who caught her. They still have one captured hostage from among them, and besides, they guarantee the rescue of the princess. The warriors were stubborn and said that it was he who was to blame for the kidnapping, and that they had better teach him a lesson first. The main character, after they started shooting, decided to use a trick that is usually used for entertainment. He thought that this should be enough to scare them away. He understood that this dance melody technique looked impressive, and if used correctly, it could scare someone well. Teacher G saw this and realized that no one else used such grandiose techniques except him. The vice dean asked what kind of trick this was and said that he had never seen anything like it before. The main character approached the warrior with an arrow and asked him to get out if he wants to live and report to the emperor that in 10 days he will bring the princess, and if during this time they continue to attack, he will kill them all. After the warrior ran away, the main character realized that he knew that people were easy to scare, but it was too easy. Imiana asked if they were already leaving. Saran asked the main character how he managed to stop the army alone. The main character replied that he promised to bring the princess soon, and they retreated. Then the whole team got together and went, because the main character said that time was running out. Imiana asked if they needed to come up with a name for the team. After that, they all began to invent it and stopped on the path to power. They eventually began to fight. After a day of battle, Imiana said that they were running out of strength, but there were more and more enemies. Saren said that she was right, because if this continues, they will definitely lose, so something needs to be done. The main character said that they need to enter the courtyard first, which everyone else agreed with. He also understood that the most important thing now is to restore strength. Otherwise, they will simply lose their combat effectiveness. The main character asked if the academy had a spare warehouse to prepare food. The sister replied that it was too late and the enemies would not wait until they prepared food, because they were already outside the gate. The main character asked if there was something that would cook quickly and restore energy well. My sister asked where this pizza aroma came from and if it was Pizza Hut. The prince replied that she had thought correctly because it was indeed from Pizza Hut, and added that they should hurry up before it cooled down. The main character asked the prince how he smuggled in such a large amount of pizza. Teacher G said that he felt that he had spent a lot of money and had emptied the academy's treasury. The prince asked the teacher if he really could go this way, being a prince of the empire. He promised to tell everything after the victory. When the teacher took almost all the pizzas for himself, Saran asked him why he needed so many, because half a half would have been enough for him. The teacher replied that this was a privilege only for teachers. The leader of the enemies said that more than 10 minutes had passed since they disappeared into the courtyard, and this was the ideal chance for an attack. When the enemies burst in, the protagonist asked if they really thought they had already won. The enemies saw them and did not understand why they became so much stronger and why they became different in general. The prince said that it was most likely time to reveal the secret to everyone, and added that this was all thanks to a secret function for saving money. He also said that new customers ordering food on the Pizza Hut app are given a good discount on pizza. Saran then grabbed onto one of the enemies and asked where all the people from the gourmet club were and why there was no one at headquarters. The enemy replied that he was just a laborer, and all he knew was that they had left last night. Feng Weixia said that she had just searched everything and there was really no one there. The main character asked who ordered them to leave. The enemy replied that it was Bao Xun who killed the previous leader and became the new head of the gourmet food club. The enemy also added that the divine messenger was on Bao Xian's side, so he became the head without any problems. The main character said that they need to catch up with them before they blackmail the empire. The prince asked where to look for them now because they had no clues. The sister said that her family has a large intelligence network, and through it they can find them. They came further to the house of Isianju, and the sister's father told the main character that he had not seen him for so long that he had already begun to forget. Already during the hug, the main character told him that even though he is old, his bones are stronger than him. His father said that he had performed very well at the Spirit Eater Academy, and asked if he was still confident in refusing the marriage alliance. The main character said that he would think about it some more. The daughter asked him to stop this and hurry up and find out something. Sejong asked why he felt like there was something between the main character and his older sister. The prince replied that in fact, they were engaged. He also added that she even refused him, but immediately agreed to marry the main character. The sister told the main character that her father is always so active when it comes to her marriage. The main character told her that he understands that her father simply cares about her future. Moreover, she is not against marriage, so he does not take his word seriously. Hearing about the frivolity, she realized that it looked like he really wasn't going to take her as his wife. At that moment, the son of the Prime Minister of the Bizun Empire, Du-ru, burst into the Yixiangju house and asked to greet him. Imiana accused him and his servants of being impudent, breaking into someone else's house and injuring the guards, and also insulting the Yixiangju family. Du-ru said that he came this time to take her as his bride. The prince said that it looked like some toad wanted to eat swan meat. Du-ru ordered one of his servants to tear off the prince's tongue. The servant agreed to carry out the order. The prince said that he greatly overestimated himself and began to fight with the servant, and the main character felt a strange feeling at that moment. The father told Mr. Du that he had previously made it clear to him that his daughter already had a husband, so he should go back. Mr. Du told his father that he came here this time with an imperial decree, which clearly stated his wedding with his family. After that, he asked if the Yixiangju family was going to refuse to carry out the decree. The daughter asked what kind of jokes these were. The main character asked why bother the emperor if he could just get rid of the groom, and then no one would say anything. Mr. Du said that sounded good and asked his sister where her fiancé was, whom he wanted to kill. The main character answered him instead of her that her fiancé was right in front of him. Mr. Du said he couldn't believe it. The main character said that if he doesn't believe in it, he can ask her about it himself. She confirmed this. Mr. Du asked his servants to drag him to him and hold him until he killed him. The main character said that a warm-up would be just in time and it's very fortunate that they are here. Pushing his sister in the chest, the main character asked her to move away. Otherwise, her dress might get dirty. Sejong said he felt like he was watching a comedy. The prince told his cousin that he was not a failure and that this could also be considered a victory. Feng Weixia thought that even if they were engaged, it was too much. Teacher Ji wondered if he was so relaxed that he didn't notice. The main character, meanwhile, did not understand why it was so soft. Mr. said that he brought with him people from the Iron Wolf army, who are the masters of the 100, and who will definitely make him beg for death. The main character asked Mr. to remember that one should not brag about such things because it causes laughter. After this, the main character, using human magic of the promises of mountains and rivers, attacked all his people. Sejong asked what kind of technique this was and why he knew nothing about his techniques. The teacher said that the main character is indeed a martial arts genius, because he was able to comprehend the spirit beast technique. Mr. asked the servants to stand up and obey him, because he took them with him for a reason. The main character took it up and said that the Gourmet Food Club is not standing still, and they have already managed to itch the prime ministers. Mr. said he doesn't know what he's talking about. The main character said that he deliberately provoked him in order to fight, and after that he asked him if Xian taught him how to use dark spells. Mr. continued to say that he did not understand anything. The main character asked if he served Bao Xun. Mr. replied that he didn't know him either. After this, the main character told Feng Weixia that he would give her an hour to find out from him where Bao Xun is now. She said that using the methods of Zhengyu Palace, half an hour is enough. The teacher asked him not to become arrogant because big problems would still overtake him. He also said that it looked like someone didn't like using the engagement to achieve a goal, so he should hurry up and calm his sister down. The main character did not understand how he could get into such a situation. Having tried to talk to her, nothing worked for him, and he went back, realizing that she had too terrible a character and a lot of strength, so he could not do anything. Other team members approached him and told him that he had to persuade her. He said that she almost tore his arm off. They said they couldn't save the princess if he couldn't fix the problem. The prince said that he would give him another auxiliary artifact, and asked him to learn how to persuade his wife. The main character asked if it seemed to him that this high-tech artifact violated the logic of this world. But in the end, the main character still asked him to repeat everything he said to him in the earpiece. He repeated and apologized, and she said that he didn't need to apologize because he hadn't done anything wrong. But in reality, in her mind, she wanted to see how he would apologize. He also said that he didn't want to use their engagement for bad purposes, but it was really necessary, so he apologizes for the trouble caused if it hurt her so much. He added that he was ready to bear responsibility for her all his life. She asked if it was this declaration of love that embarrassed her so much. The prince advised him to go up to her and hug her tightly, and then look intently into her eyes. She asked him if everything he said was true. The main character asked the prince to shut up, otherwise he would become very unruly. And after that, he confirmed that everything he said was indeed true. She beat him and he came to everyone. Saran said that although he had spoken, he would reiterate that her combat power was still at its best. The main character said that it was all because of their smart ideas. The prince said that at least she had let out all her anger, so she had probably calmed down. A little later, Feng Weixia reported that she had found out that their organization was making every effort to eradicate all the ministers of the empire. She also said that when they achieve their goal, they will use the princess to blackmail the emperor. The prince said that those who came most likely knew where Baoxian was now, and he asked after that whether she was lying to them and whether she wanted to betray them. She replied that if they wanted to interrogate her again, then most likely they would not be able to eat for at least another week. The protagonist understood that not knowing about Baoxian's whereabouts made the situation a little more complicated. Imiana further said that their intelligence had found out that they were in the city of Fengzhou. They eventually moved there, and the main character said that they should not catch everyone's eye, and that first they need to find the patriarch of the House of Bi, and find out from him about the situation of the House of Bao. Meanwhile, the sale to the lady of the House of Bai began at a very low price of only 100 taels. The main character asked how such a strong family could allow their own children to be sold. He was told that the patriarch of the Bai family died unexpectedly, and the masters disappeared one after another, which is why they are now selling the children. The same person also said that the Bao family had their hands in it. They forged a promissory note with Bi Tao and took the place of the Bi family. Another asked him to stop, because he could get well for this. Having taken off his mask, the main character understood that although he was not exactly Bisa, he was still in his body, and besides, the patriarch was very kind to him, so he would someday settle scores with Baoxian. When the seller asked the girl to raise her head so that the buyers could see her face, the main character hit him, asking him to take his dirty hands off her. Imiana asked why he went on his own. Saran replied that most likely he did not want to reveal everyone. The teacher asked what the mess was. Another seller asked the main character how he dared to do something like this here. The third seller asked, addressing the main character as an old man, whether he had gone crazy in his old age. The main character said that he found it funny that some rabble wanted to enslave the Bi family. The team members did not understand how the main character was able to disguise himself so instantly. Next, these sellers began to attack the main character, saying that if he really wanted to die, then they would help him with this. After repelling the attack, the main character asked one of the enemies to go to his master and report that one of the ancestors of the Bai family had come to take revenge. After this, the story moved to a moment where the main character was being chased by some feeling, and where the main character realized that sooner or later he would have to take a break. Having run to some cave, he noticed that there was something there that attracted his blood. Having run into the cave and stopped, he realized that he was in a magic circle, around which there were balloons containing sacramental energy. He became interested in what kind of energy was contained in these balls, and reaching out to a ball with pizza with steamed vegetables and cream cheese, he felt a surge of strength. Next, he wondered if all the energy that enveloped his hands came from a slice of pizza. Then he saw greenery and realized that this ball had a defense skill, and he decided that it was worth checking out. Upon checking, he found many more types of pizza there and realized that this was a really good thing for him. Choosing another one of the pizzas, he felt the enchanting durian aroma from it. Having eventually devoured all the possible pizzas, he noticed that his spiritual strength had been restored, and this made him very happy. Then the monster ran up to him, and he realized that it was just in time, because he would be able to test his new skills on it. With the help of an army of shrimp and crabs, he was able to catch the monster and told him that he had something else. But after seeing that his next attack with a large meat pizza didn't work, he knew he had to try something else. After using the 12 Shunwei array, he was sure that the monster had now definitely lost. After this, the story moved back to the city of Fengzhou, where the patriarch of the Bao family, Bao Yin, was told at the request of the protagonist what he asked for, which the patriarch was not very happy about. One of the servants said that everything they said was true, because they had seen him use the Bai family's unique techniques. Another added that this old man is much stronger than the past patriarch of the Bai family, and he said that he would avenge his family by destroying them. Bao Yin said that there was no need to worry, because he would go to hell with the others as soon as they took him to him. The sister asked the main character where he got the instant camouflage technique. The main character replied that it was just a trick that he himself came up with, and he also said that they would all pretend to be the ancestors of the Bai family and fight with the Bao family, and as soon as they sensed danger, Bao Xian would come out and be caught by them. Saren said it was a good idea. The prince asked the main character if he could teach him this too. Seeing the face of that old cultivator who deceived him into a 1,000-year spiritual fruit in the divine world, the teacher realized that he was able to reveal his identity. After so many years, it turns out that it is him. After hearing Bao Yin searching for the ancestor of the Bi family, the main character advised everyone not to use their characteristic techniques during the fight, because they could reveal them. The main character and the whole team came out to the patriarch with his hearing and said that he thought it was the dogs barking, but it turns out that they are so noisy. The patriarch greeted them all and said that, unfortunately, he did not know who they were, and he asked them to introduce themselves. The main character said that 200 years ago the Bao family fled from hunger and their kind family helped them, but now he sees that they do not want to pay with good for their salvation. The patriarch accused the main character of deception and said that their family had been living here for many years and had not accepted any help from his family. The main character asked the patriarch if he dared to look at their 9th ancestor, buried in the slave cemetery of Smi Bai. The prince asked what he was talking about. The sister replied that there was nothing to worry about because this was verified information by their intelligence. The patriarch asked how he dared to insult their family, after which he began to attack him along with all his assistants. Saren wanted to help the main character, but Feng Weixia reminded him that he could not use his techniques. Saren asked how to fight then. The girl asked if he really couldn't fight without using his techniques. He asked not to underestimate him, and with the help of many miraculous deeds, he uprooted the tree. While one of the enemies was distracted from the main character to look at this, the main character prepared Sirius's claws for an attack. After that, he damaged the enemy's black iron sword, which he was very surprised by. The main character further said that he gives them 3 days to carefully prepare for the next battle, because otherwise the Bao family will be completely destroyed. Next, Bao Yin came to Bao Xian and said through the door that the city of Fengzhou was restless, so he asked him for help. He also added that several ancestors of the Bi family came to take revenge on their family. Bao Xian, hearing this, decided that before he gets to the main character, he will first take all his ancestors.